the streets. People need to know we're living in a war zone. Hit the street.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Loot Bros Podcast. I'm your host, Residentdarrell, and with me this week, I got, instead of No Show Joe, it's I Only Show Joe.
Nice. Yeah. I guess it's just me and you, Darrell, because the other two people just like decided to bail on us. Suck City today. No, shout out to Kalai. Hope she's feeling better and Jim are feeling better after they got cat attacked.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess she'll speak more of that in the Facebook group or on the show next week. And Zach, next time you'll learn not to put the gerbils in your ass.
That's right.
And just feel better, brother. Feel better.
Sorry about your butt, broski. So, yeah. You got to be careful when you're petting your kitty in the wild there, Kalai, you and Jim. It'll get you. So, but yeah, dude, it's me and you. So this is going to be another weird one, the way that this show is going to work out, because I've got some audio to patch in, and it's going to be a good one, though, I think. So we've got a special guest, video game indie dev on here. It's going to be really fun. I had a great time talking with him. He is a returning guest on the show. It is Mr. Kenneth Dunlop. He is the owner, founder, all that jazz of Plasma Beam Games. And it's going to be cool, man. So we had a really, really good conversation. We talked games. We pimped his stuff a little bit. He's got a second demo out for his game. And I want to highly encourage everyone at the top of the show to download the demo. I'll put the links in the show notes and download the demo. I'm going to post it in the Facebook group as well, especially all you PC nerds with your TurboTax. Download the demo and give some feedback. So it's going to be it's a open world space shooter.
What's it called? Wait, an open world space, like a shmup?
Yeah. It's going to be it's like a shmup, but it's going to be it's a little different. It's very interesting. It is called Super Space Galaxy. So he actually already has a game on Steam and the Google Play Store called Super Space Slayer 2. I've actually purchased that one and beaten it. And it's a good game, and it's a space shooter on rails, which was cool because you kind of hop between lanes to find your targets or whatever. And you guys know me, and I said this to him, even though I'm a reformed trophy whore, I definitely love my East Asia soft shmups, space shooters. And I love, you put them trophies at the front. But hey, I'm not about that life anymore. I am reformed. I'm doing really good.
For now.
I'm being a good boy. So, so Mr. Kenneth Dunlop came on. We had a great conversation, and he will definitely be back on the show in the future. So, very cool stuff there. Outside of that, patrons, check out the Patreon. I've already recorded the new content for April.
Oh, nice.
Yes, it is fun. I finally got the boys to sit down, and we did what we're calling a beginner's guide to Dead by Daylight. And
Trophy!
It's basically Noah really schooling me on Dead by Daylight, but Paxton jumps in there and helps too. But it's incredible the amount of depth this game offers. And at face value, it's actually a clunky hot mess. But when you really get into it, dude, Dead by Daylight's a pretty dope game. And so we've already recorded that. That's actually already edited, posted in the queue, ready to rock and roll for April. So that will be the Super Loot Bros podcast for April. And then the deep dive is something a little special. So I'm not going to announce what that is just yet, but all you patrons will have access to it. And if you're not a part of the Patreon, do check it out. You can get in for as little as $1. And we are 9 months into it now. So there's tons of bonus stuff in there as well. So if you got in there right now for $1, you would get 9 Super Loot Bros podcasts. You would get multiple deep dives. If you got in at the $5 tier, you would get 9 Super Loot Bros, 9 deep dives, and all of the additional podcast material. So some good stuff in there. So lots and lots of value for your money, in my opinion. So there is that. Outside of that, you guys, we always need you to check out the YouTube. The YouTube subscribers have slowed down. So if you have not already, check out the YouTube, check out the Discord. All the links are in the show notes. I've set up a Linktree for the Loot Bros podcast. you just click on the Linktree, and it takes you to everything. It takes you everything we have. Super simple. So that's all the business. Joe, you want to start this week off with a toast?
Sure, let's do it.
Dude, my son, he's actually calling me right now. I had my drink down here, and I was getting ready. I was saving it for the toast. He goes, "Dad, you didn't open your Diet Coke." And he goes over and goes to crack it open for me. I was like, no, stop. I need that. Toast. All right, here we go. This week's toast goes out to those sweet Gran Turismo reviews. That user score sitting at a 1.5.
Wow,
and I'm going to AEW on Wednesday.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Toast to that. What's the main event on that? Did you check?
No, they were advertising Cody Rhodes when I bought tickets. I don't know what's going on now.
You already signed to WWE, I heard though. Like I heard that's like actually true now.
I mean, it makes sense. We're getting ready to be visited by Spider Pax. I can hear him coming down the stairs.
Oh, here he comes.
He's getting ready to make a special guest appearance.
Spider Pax.
There he is. What's up, Spider Pax?
Second room.
The red room?
No,
the blue?
The blue.
Okay.
The red room was no one. That's why he got fed.
All right.
Sorry.
Cool deal. Love you. Your reward was super dope.
I
So.
texted you.
I saw it. You said red, so I thought it was where I was supposed to be.
I said red in the group chat.
Oh, okay.
I said second was your room in the ash.
All right. Well, I'm going to start mine while I podcast. I'll text you back. Love you. So, another little shout out. Today we had 2 soccer games, and although Spider Pax didn't score, he definitely played really hard, at least the second half of the game. First half of the game was moving a little slow, but Noah got himself a nice, beautiful goal today. So, and it's he's playing in the U12, so it's getting a little more difficult for each kid to get a goal because you got to actually play your positions. And Noah just, man, there was a chain of passes, and Noah was playing midfield, and he was able to catch a goal, and it was absolutely beautiful. It was so cool to watch. So I am burnt to a crisp. I look like I have was wearing sunglasses and then got hit in the face with a flamethrower. So I am like super burnt. So
here's a late breaking update.
Okay.
The user scores have now climbed to a 1.7.
Oh, snaps. It's turning around.
We're on our way up. We're on our way back up, people.
That's right. It's turning the ship around, don't you? You can't hold the big Sony machine down.
Apparently 0.2 people changed their minds.
Well, I actually thought about creating a Loot Bros account for like,
oh my god,
for a Metacritic, and starting to review stuff under there. So, but I haven't done it yet, but I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking a lot about it. So, all right, Joe, why don't you? I'm actually going to start us off with what I've been playing because it's very, very light, and then we can get into all the good stuff because we got a lot to cover in a short amount of time. I have been playing a little bit of Minecraft currently, like right now. I'm actually playing that. Outside of that, I finally started Horizon Forbidden West. It is very, very good from what I can tell, or for what I've played so far. Super, super cool. It is beautiful. I'm playing the PS5 version. It is absolutely gorgeous. There ain't that much more to say about it. I'm only about 2 hours in. I've kind of done the tutorial section, I guess, to kind of start. And so far, so good. And I played the only other game I played with my wife. It's called Ouch Ouch, You're on My Hair. Just kidding. No. We've been played. We are playing one of those Wales Interactive full motion video games. We went to go load up the Dr. Decker, the Maddening of Dr. Decker, or something like that, and then we ended up switching over right before we got started to the complex. Complex is a full motion video game where you are in a like a biological lab, and you have created these little nanocells. They're supposed to heal people, like regrow tissue and bone and stuff. And then like something goes wrong, blah blah blah. There's a bit of an outbreak, and it's a very very cool story. A little bit of the B movie style acting that I so enjoy. It's like a little cheesy. But my wife and I sat down for the first time in forever and played through one of those. So I have not updated the backlog beatdown for myself. I didn't post that yet, but I definitely beat that last night. Outside of that, that's it, dude. It has been business, like straight up getting things set up for my MLO, which I know you guys love hearing me talk about. I'm super stoked about it. My first official start date with the new / second job will be Monday. So I'm officially hired, and I can work with a provisional license until I get the state actually approves my actual license. So I'll be training and stuff come Monday. So
you're doing both at the same time for now?
I will do both at the same time until I actually can break away and just do one. I can't. I could stop the job I'm working at now and just do the MLO thing, but I don't think that's financially responsible. Like I make pretty decent money where I'm at, and I've got a really, I've got a good job. Like I've got it's very comfortable where I'm at, and I don't have to leave it. I don't ever have to leave it. But I do know that the goal is to have my own brokerage, and I have to be licensed and operating as an MLO for 3 years before I can open my own brokerage. So it's kind of one of those things to where I'm going to learn the other job, do it on the side. And then if I get really good at it, or I'm like oddly successful or whatever, then I would step down where I'm at and maybe work in a part-time capacity. But I don't know. These are conversations I haven't even had with my boss yet. And so I'm just kind of thinking out loud. But I could be really terrible at it, and the market could crash, and Bo Jiden could launch us into World War III, and I might never get to sell a house. So.
I mean, that could happen any moment.
That's kind of where we're at. And I told my wife this too. I told my wife, I was like, what's going to happen, right? As soon as I get my license, the market is going to crash, because it was so hot. Like everybody and their mom, the rates have been so low. Everybody and their mom was buying houses, refinancing their house. I mean, we did it. It's crazy. So I was like, dang, dude, I'm going to get involved, and then it's going to tank. And lo and behold, as soon as I passed my class, the rate started rising. Then a war started brewing, and gas is $50 a gallon. So I'm like, yeah, here we go. I called this. So I'm basically what I'm getting at is I'm not making any moves anytime soon. I'm just going to enjoy life, learn the job, get good at it, and then by the time I'm 40, open my own brokerage. That was always the goal. So, what have you been doing? What have you been playing?
I've been doing a lot, man. I've been working crazy between the two jobs. It just never stops. For those unaware, I'm a behavior analyst, so I deal primarily with individuals on the autism spectrum on a daily basis. And by dealing with, I mean I help them to lead more successful and more fulfilling lives. And I love what I do for a living, and I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else. But it doesn't come without hardships and the fact that it's, a very stress-inducing job. But, I love it to death, and I wouldn't do anything else. But what have I been playing? I've been playing, not too much this week, but I feel like what I have played, I've enjoyed. So I'll start off with my new obsession, which was an old obsession, but it's been reignited. Darrell, have you ever played a game called Dead Cells?
No.
So
I'm familiar with it. I've just never played it myself.
So Dead Cells is like one of those procedurally generated dungeon games.
Yes.
Where you collect things, and every time you die, you lose everything except for your permanent power-ups. And then the cool thing about Dead Cells is you collect these things called blueprints as you go through the levels. And the blueprints let you craft different weapons depending on how many souls you pick up every time you do a run. And then if you beat a boss, you can do these things where you can upgrade your permanent, like you can like upgrade basically what kind of weapons will spawn in the world and the quality of the weapon that spawns in the world. So I've been doing that now. So I've been getting crazy where I'm like going and like stashing up like 100 souls deep before I fight a boss, and then like trying to kill it without dying, and then upgrade the rarity of the stuff I'm collecting now, just not what I'm collecting now. And I'm having a blast playing this game. I think I put like 10 hours in it this weekend, so that's a lot.
There you go.
Fortunately, I had a lot of time to play this week. This morning, my daughter had a birthday party, and my wife took her, so I had like the whole morning to just kind of like veg out and play video games, which is kind of nice. Yeah, and all my clients canceled this morning, so that was also cool.
Dang.
Not financially cool, but like cool. Like I got to play video games. Cool. Because I had to be out all day tomorrow, except for like 3 hours during like the middle of the day. So I'm probably gonna be playing some Dead Souls in the middle of the day and grab my Switch and bring it with me. It's a great thing about it.
That's dope.
So yeah, Dead Cells, amazing, man. It's such an amazing game. Like so addicting. Like I can't say enough about this little game. It has DLC. It's like $11. I think I'm gonna pick it up. So I think I'm gonna give the developer some more of my money because they deserve it. And I think they just finished the last DLC that just like popped. But I know Kalai's played like hundreds of hours of it, and so has her husband, I believe, played a bunch of it too. And I know good friend of the show, Matt Murray, he's played a bunch. I think Matt G's played it too. So it's a pretty popular game. I know it won Action Game of the Year a few years ago. So I'm digging it though. You should check it out. It's called Dead Cells. It's on everything imaginable. Trophies aren't too difficult. They're pretty much just for doing things in the game and beating bosses. I mean, the game is hard, don't get me wrong, because like you collect stat boosts and stuff like that as you go through the worlds, and everything's just like one run, right? So like you go, you do your run, you collect, like you pick up these upgrade kits, and you can either upgrade one of three things every time you pick one up. So you can upgrade your health, your brutality, which is your how much damage you do, your health, and then you can upgrade your secondary weapon or your ranged weapon. So you have a lot of choices to make, and the choices affect how well your character does. And then like you can pick up like weapons like bones and stuff like that, and you can like wield them like nunchucks. It's pretty cool. It's a very, very cool game. I'm digging it. Like I said, I put about almost 15 hours into it so far, and I don't see myself stopping anytime soon. Probably put 100. I'll probably put 100 or so hours in this thing before it's all said and done.
That's cool. That's dope. Yeah, I haven't played it. I've seen it. It looks really, really cool. The one thing it was kind of turned me off about it is it's like a oh my gosh, one of those permadeath games, isn't it?
Yeah. But like I said, like every time you get permanent upgrades, they're permanent. So like I've unlocked a lot of stuff where like the permanent upgrades, like you can walk on walls now. I can climb up walls like a spider. I can ram the ground and go through the ground on certain grounds. Like I can do a lot of the secret stuff now that you couldn't do when you first started. So I've earned like 8 power-ups from going to like different areas in the game, and they stay with you permanently. So it just makes traversing like the earlier stuff like easier. But like I said, I've upgraded the weapon I start with, and I got the random perk, which makes all your weapons that spawn at the beginning of the map random, which is really cool. So instead of just spawning like just like the beginner weapon, I spawn like a random generated weapon at the start of each run. And I'm trying to unlock the random shield and the random range weapon, so I can do those too. And I've upgraded my health container like 3 times, so I can heal myself 3 times each run, each like biome, because it kind of plays like most other roguelites where it's like or roguelikes where it's kind of like what's the big one on PlayStation? Returnal. It plays like kind of like Returnal. Yeah, it plays like Returnal a little bit, as like you can only do things X amount of times, but I'm really digging it. Like I said, it's friggin' awesome. I think everybody should check it out if you haven't. Dope. Other than that, I have played, go to the whole trophy list. I played Tearaway Unfolded, which I'm really digging. You play Tearaway, Darrell?
I have tried it before. It didn't really stick. I've got it on the Vita.
So that's the premier place to play it because of all like the different mechanics it has in it. Like, and it really utilizes the touchpad. I think it's the only game besides Gravity Rush that really uses the touchpad to its fullest potential. I know Uncharted uses it a little bit for different things.
Yeah, God of War used it too, but God of War kind of gets in the way. It's like I just want to hold my Vita comfortably, and you're making me hold this button.
Yeah, so you can't press. Yeah, so you don't accidentally. Yeah, The Vita has some annoying control styles. I agree. So Tearaway is pretty cool. It's like this little not indie platform. Sorry, it's a platforming game, and it's gorgeous. Like it's all paper drawn stuff, and you get to create like this character called the Messenger, and you have to go and you have to escape from the world. That's like the whole premise of the game. And every time you get close to escaping, the game just pulls you back in. Like, oh no, you're trying to rocket out of the world. Oh no, the enemy jumps in front of you and stops you from getting out. It's a cute little game. It's definitely kid friendly. I recommend it to anybody who's starting to like play platformers. It's a damn good platformer with very cool mechanics that use the DualSense or the DualShock very well. So like for instance, like you swipe left to like make the wind and current go. You can throw things into the controller and then shoot them out. It's a really cool little game. I'm enjoying it. I'm about like 65% done with it, I think. Okay. So there's three chapters in the whole game, and each chapter there's 3 worlds in the game or stories, and each story has 6 chapters. So I'm on the 5th chapter of book number 2. So I'm almost there.
Cool.
Played a little bit more Gran Turismo 7 this week.
It's the hot topic these days.
Game's good. I like it a lot. I slowed down a lot. I think watching Corey blast through the game in 2 days was killed me on playing it. I was just like, oh, all right. It's because he beat it in like 2 sittings, the whole game.
Jeez.
Dude, he played 20 hours of it in 2 days.
That's crazy.
Dude. Well, he's been playing games like that because, he leaves for a week at a time for work on the fishing boat.
Yeah.
Fucking like Lieutenant Dan and shit. He's like Lieutenant Dan going on a fishing trip with Forrest Gump.
Lieutenant Dan.
Ice cream, Lieutenant Dan. Ice cream.
That's funny.
I played Streets of Rage 4. That game is absolutely phenomenal. Anyone who's not played Streets of Rage 4, it's made by .emu or whatever. I think .emu is the name of the company. They're the same people who are doing the new Ninja Turtle game. And I have to say, this is one of the best beat 'em ups I've ever played in my life. If they put this much care into Ninja Turtles, the sky's the limit for that game.
Dude, for real.
Seriously though, if they put that much care, do you have Streets of Rage 4?
I had it on Game Pass. I have not actually bought it yet.
You should get it on PS4. You can go through the whole game. Because I got to beat it with different characters, because there's trophies for beating it with like every character in the game, and then there's trophy for each single character, and then there's characters for beating it with like one character from like all the classic games once you unlock them. Not each character itself, but like one character from each game. So
gotcha.
Isn't
it on sale or wasn't it on sale recently?
It was just on sale. I don't know if it's still on sale. I should have bought the Mr. X DLC, but again, I didn't buy it because it gives you 3 more characters and like boss attack mode, and then it gives you the new mode where you have like a skill tree that you can like upgrade your characters. It's like pretty wild. I actually should have got it, but I didn't. I beat this little indie game called Distraint.
Okay.
And that's like apparently like Distraint is when like you evict somebody from their house. Is that true, Darrell?
It sounds right. No, I'm not.
You should know this shit, Darrell. You just passed your test.
Well, I don't. Well, I won't be dealing with evictions.
All right. So Distraint's this cool little game, right? By one guy made it. So it's a very cool game. And you go around as this guy who basically evicts people from their houses. And like he morally feels bad about it.
I feel like I played this. Did I play this? I'm looking now.
I don't know. There's a sequel too. There's a sequel now too.
Right.
The sequel just came out, I believe, like last year, and I want to pick that up, but I haven't picked it up yet. So it's cool. It's very cool. It's a puzzle game that makes you use your your intellect, and I liked it. I liked it. It kind of plays similar to like Grim Fandango, or Super Monkey Island, or games in that ilk.
Isn't that a Ratalaika game?
Tentacle. I don't know. Is it a Ratalaika game?
What are you playing it on?
I beat it. I platinumed it on PS4.
Okay, I feel like that's a Ratalaika game, but it's like a good one because I feel like I've played that one.
It is a good game.
If I didn't play it, I know for a fact I own it and just hadn't got it.
The platinum took about 5 hours, maybe a little less. It wasn't that bad though. It was a good game. Good game. I enjoyed it. I know I claimed the +1 for it, but didn't claim the +2 because the platinum was too short. So
Gotcha.
But still stamping away at Bug Snacks. That game is phenomenal. Phenomenal. You play Blood Snacks, Darrell?
I turned it on and we played a little bit of it when we first got the PS5.
It's really fun. It's really fun. It definitely takes advantage of the PS5. Beautiful little game. And then other than that, I don't think I played anything else. That's pretty much everything this week.
Okay. Not bad.
Not a busy week, but like I had to say, I put a shit ton of hours into Dead Cells. But other than that, I didn't play much.
Yeah. Like for me, I didn't get much gaming time, but when I did, I was playing Horizon, and that's one I'm ready to get back to. So there's a handful.
I did play one more game. That's right. I played WWE 2K22.
Oh, of course, naturally.
I've been checking out my faction mode, and it's pretty cool. And so, did you play? You played 2K20, right?
Yes.
You know the tower mode they had in there, where like it had like the different towers, and
yeah,
that's back now, but it's like more of a mode now, and it's like it slams that together with like card packs and like Madden Ultimate Team style bullshit. So while it's like a cash grab, because like you can't really unlock cards without spending money, real world money, because it takes way too long to unlock them. That's the only problem I have with the mode. But other than that, the mode's really tight because it brings back the towers, and I love the towers. I love tower things in games where like you can just like play different matches and do different things to earn like different points and like collectibles. Yeah. So they have these modes in my faction. One of them's called Proving Ground, right? And you have to play these matches where you play you have contracts under my faction. So you start a faction, you have a draft. Your draft is you pick a deck of cards. You pick an NXT deck, a Raw deck, or a SmackDown deck, right? And then that determines what cards you get to start with. So you can earn more cards by beating other factions, or you can earn cards by winning matches, earning points, and like buying packs. But each card, Darrell, has a contract limit, meaning that you can't use that card unless you buy a contract for it. So like I think like a gold contract is worth like 15 or 10 matches, bronze is worth 5, and silver is worth 10 or 15 or 20. I don't remember the numbers exactly, but it's a really cool concept, and I'm digging it. Like, especially since I got AJ Styles in my first pack. So,
oh, that always helps.
My team consists of AJ Styles, Braun Strowman. What was it? It's AJ, Kofi Kingston, Braun Strowman, and Chad Gable right now. But I think I have more cards than that. I have a ton of cards.
Now, didn't Chad Gable get released?
No, Chad Gable's still there.
So he's still there. Okay.
He's still there.
Are they doing anything with him?
Not really.
I say that was kind of like a Kurt Angle wannabe style. I don't want to say wannabe because that sounds like derogatory, but a Kurt Angle style wrestler that they just don't do anything with.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. He's really good. He definitely has a lot of upswing, and I feel like they don't use him to his full potential, and I think it's kind of sad. But like they say, not everybody can be a top guy, and not everybody can be used every week. They don't have like an AEW dark style like thing where you can just throw everybody on one night of matches. Sadly, they should have something like that on YouTube. I wish WWE would kind of get back. I know they changed 205 Live. They call it NXT Proving Ground now. Have you seen that, Darrell?
No, I haven't watched any WWE in forever.
Well, you're watching next week, right? Next week's Mania.
Is it Mania?
Yeah, next weekend's Mania, Saturday, Sunday.
That's right. It's first of
and Hall of Fame's next Friday after SmackDown.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch Mania because supposedly Stone Cold's coming back.
He is fighting Kevin Owens. Well, I don't know if they're fighting. It's supposed to be a Kevin Owens show, but now someone says they're having a match. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I'll watch it just for that. But
we should move to housekeeping.
Well, I mean, I kind of plugged what I had to plug already. So we can actually go on to the leaderboards and stuff if you're ready.
Yeah, let's do it.
So all right, here we go. Heading on over to the PlayStation leaderboards. We're going to start off. This is a embarrassingly low week for this group. I just got to throw that out there. I'm got to get those numbers up, ladies and gentlemen. Head on over to True Trophies. Check out the Loot Bros custom leaderboard. In first place, Affectatious Donk, 302 trophies, basically carrying the world on his shoulders. Because second place is Tricky Mick with 18 trophies.
Holy God!
Yeah. That is a drop right there.
What is that percentage drop? Like 400?
That is quite a drop. So, and then next up we have Gaz Davis with 15 trophies.
Damn. I don't even think I made the top 3 this week.
So no, you didn't. So that's the thing right here. So I was kind of want to put a pin in this real quick. Like listeners, you hear you got these big time, top of the leaderboard, world renowned trivia hunters participating in our leaderboards, and that's cool. We love having that. But then there's weeks like this where, a lot of people were caught sleeping. And so you, the average gamer, might just be like, oh, I just actually played a game this week. Let me just join the leaderboards, and boom, I would have been read out and shouted out. So very cool. So, next, actually, it's a tie for third place. Redbeard Rick, 15 trophy. So, yep, that's the Loot Bros PlayStation leaderboards. Now we're going to head on over to the Xbox leaderboards. They look a little better. You have a Sadik, shout out, 8,165 achievement points or gamer score. Next up, you have I'm Styling on You Bro with 950 achievement points. Hey, I'm Styling on You Bro has constantly been in the top, talked about on the Xbox leaderboard. So shout out for that one. And then third place, Sony Pony to You with 925 achievement points. So there you go. Not a bad week. Actually, holy crap. Fifth place. I'll read fourth. GDI Master Ace with 330. Fifth place, the Residentdarrell with 150 achievement points. I forgot. On my lunch break, I played some Resident Evil 4 on Xbox in my office, and I got two achievements for a total of 150 points.
Nice.
Yeah.
What achievements did you get?
Secure the ballistics, which is save the president's daughter from her captivity, and then outsmarting El Gigante. Because I've already beat the game on Xbox, so I'm just doing a second playthrough with all my upgraded weapons to kind of max everything out and buy some of the special weapons. And yeah, dude. And so I think I'm gonna do a professional playthrough and 100% the game. Or I don't know. I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna do a professional playthrough for sure, but I don't know that I've got the nerves to go through and get all the bottle caps in that game.
Oh my god, they're so annoying.
They're super annoying, especially because you have to do the shooting gallery to get some of them, and the shooting gallery is not fun to play. I feel like I'll have to do the PlayStation and Xbox versions back to back once I do that, because I'm gonna have to sit there just like Mercenaries with Village. I'm gonna have to play it and play it and play it and play it to get my bearings, and then I'm gonna need to do it on every console while it's fresh. So. But yeah, that's our leaderboard. So if you want to shout out on the show, you want to hear your trophies or achievements read on the show, go to trueachievements.com or truetrophies.com. Set up a profile, link it with your platform of choice, and booyah. We'll read out, and there's 30 some odd people participating in some of these leaderboards. And then I think it's 20 in the other. So there's a decent amount of people in our leaderboards. And so you do have a chance for weeks like this where people were caught sleeping. So next up, we're going to head on over to the backlog beatdown. And I do want to put oh my gosh, I just typed in backlog beatdown. That's not what I'm supposed to be doing. I did want to put a little pin out there. Shout out to Jared. I have not audited your count yet. So I read out Jared's count last week, and he said that we have his count down wrong. And I don't disagree with him, but I did not go and audit it like I should have. So I will definitely do that this week, 100% for sure. As of right now, the current count is Diego's in first place with 36 points, CJ with 35, Gareth with 32, Residentdarrell with 28, JT with 28, Redbeard Rick with 28, I'm Styling You Bro with 21, Joseph with 16, Zach with 11, James the Nerd with 10, Alex, Homer, Corey, and Tricky with 9. You got Noah with 8, Jared with 7, which tentatively could possibly be 11. I'm going to double check on that to make sure we went back and added all the correct points. Yield with 6, MZ with 5, James McCall, T-Bird with 3 apiece. T-Bird is getting close to that Elden Ring. He should be beating that one pretty soon. He's been talking to me at work about playing it. That's a hot game right now, dude. I got so many of my freaking coworkers playing that game. It's incredible. And then everyone else, Jim John Michael, Kalai, Levi, and Spider Packs with 2. So that is where we're at with the Backlog Beatdown. If you want to participate in the Backlog Beatdown, all you got to do is beat your games. Send us a picture or screenshot of the credits rolling or your trophy or achievement pop with the hashtag BLB3, and we will add you to our spreadsheet and then see who gets the most points by the end of the year. Points are dictated based off of beating games and 100% platinum games. Anything in 2022, it counts for 1 point. Anything from 2021 or below is 2 points. And anything that you 100% or platinum, you get an additional point. So that's pretty much the gist of it. It's a lot of information there, buddy.
That is a lot of information. I mean, everybody did really great this week. I'm glad that, I gave people a chance this week, I feel like, you can get on the list when I get caught slipping. So
there you go. That's right. That's the way I've been looking at this whole thing with me studying and doing all the school stuff. I'm just giving other people a chance to be at the top of the leaderboards and beat games. You know what I'm saying? So like, there's going to come a day. Okay, I'll put it like this: my family is going to Florida to Universal Studios for a week for spring break, and I am not going on that trip with them. I'm staying here with the pups. So,
man, dude,
I'm going to be not only I'm going to go see some movies. I haven't been able to see Batman yet, and I'm going to go see Morbius. So I'm going to go see both those movies. And then I'm going to beat the freak out of some games. So, all right, Joe, the reason why you and I are here is not to read out the Loot Bros leaderboards. It is not to talk about the Backlog Beatdown. The reason why we're here is to answer community questions and read Gran Turismo 7 user reviews.
Let's do it.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read our questions. And I'm going to do them in a different order than they actually came in. Because we had some on Discord, we have some left over from last week, and we have some that were on our Facebook group. Most of them actually are going to tie into the Gran Turismo 7 user reviews. Okay?
Okay.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read a question. We're going to answer it. And then you're going to share some Gran Turismo 7 user review. And then I'm going to read a question. We're both going to answer it. And then you're going to read us another Gran Turismo 7 user review. Sound good?
Sounds great.
So normally, if we had the full crew, we would all pull reviews from various places on the internet, and we'd all have a good laugh. But we're going to do it a little bit different tonight. Since it's just you and me, I'll let you read the user reviews, and I'll read out the questions, and we'll kind of see what kind of chuckles we get, because I'm sure there's going to be a few.
Sounds fantastic.
All right, here we go. First off, I'm styling on you, bro, wrote in. He goes, this is for Kalai. Says, I've listened for a while. Now, she's not here, so we're going to answer on her behalf as if we were Kalai. I'm going to do my best, okay? So this is for Kalai. I've listened for a while, and I know that you don't like it hard, but you do like it nice and hard. Or excuse me, do you like it nice and hard? That's with a question mark. Joe, this is more of a statement for you. You cannot achieve true stimulation without simulation. Darrell, what do you think is causing my G-string to sound like a banjo with a capo on fret 1 when I pluck it with my middle finger, but not my index or ring finger? So that's a nice series of questions. We're going to start off with, we'll both do this. Joe, if you were Kalai, how would you answer this? You don't like it hard, but do you like it nice and hard?
I feel like the cat definitely didn't like it nice and hard.
I would say liking it nice and hard is one thing, but playing with a wild kitty in public will get you bit every time. So, and then Joe, you cannot achieve stimulation without simulation. Is this correct?
I mean, one is not truly exclusive of the other, but I feel like if you're not stimulated, are you even there?
I'm going to go with correct. I'm just going to. I think from the Sultan of Simulation, if anybody knows either stimulation or simulation. It's going to be I'm styling on you, bro. So, what I would like to see is if you can simulate your stimulation. Which I think that would just be some weird ASMR moaning on a microphone. So who knows? Who knows? And as for me, why does your G string sound like a banjo with a capo on fret 1? Well, because you're downstroking with your middle finger, okay? But you're upstroking with your index and your ring finger. So here's what you want to do. You want your G string, all right, to sound like some nice thick MeUndies. Then you need to upstrum. Flick it up, now flick it down.
Are we still talking about playing the guitar at this point?
I don't even know. How about some GTA user reviews? I love when people write in this abstract nonsense and we have to figure out what in the world we're going to talk about. So yeah.
This one is Silent. Silent writes in with a 0 and goes, rubbish business operation. Maintenance for 3 hours and no reparation. Act like it didn't happen. I heard someone lost the save data, only received 500,000 game money for the data missing. 500,000 event can't buy a top class car. What the fuck? Cut half the racing. Cut half of the racing rewards. It said don't want to. Man, this person has terrible. It said don't want to play repeat to play the race for rewards. What the fuck? Half reward payout means you will have to repeat the races over and over again for the money after the update. GT7 set the car costs too high and hard to buy. I already paid the game. You want me pay more money to buy a car? So silly. So is your grammar. A few months to buy an unreal car. Law. You're out of your mind. Fuck that. Wait, fuck that. Fuck that. Oh, fuck that shit. There's 4 little ampersands. She's like, fuck that shit. I was like, why would you ampersand after fuck when you wrote fuck out? So you wrote fuck out, but you thought shit was the thing you needed to censor? Come on. No one have 3,804 times to win a GT Cup for a grade 4 high race ring to buy a Ford GT40. XJ13 sells for 120 million credits. I won a race in 8 minutes only just to have 3,000 credits. I need to won 400 times to buy a car. Fucking silly waste of 3,200 minutes to buy an Unreal car. So fucking silly rubbish game. Thanks, Line, for the review, and thank you for your terrible grammar. I think I should award you with a scholarship to the Derek Zoolander School for people who don't read well, or people who read good, because you need it, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if the devs ever sit back and they go, hey, let's freaking do this crazy thing that's going to make people mad so that we can read these outlandish reviews and watch these people spaz out with already bad grammar and then just make it worse because they're aggravated.
I just think it's silly sauce, man. Like, it's fucking stupid that you're like, oh yeah, let's make the game like honestly, Darrell, this is the hardest time I've ever had buying cars in a Gran Turismo game. Granted, you don't really need to buy them to play the story mode. If you want to just play and have good cars, like you get enough playing through the game. Like Corey and I talked about this at length. Like you definitely get enough stuff for playing through the actual GT mode, or not GT mode, the story mode or whatever. The GT mode is the online mode, but nonetheless, you still get a lot of money and a lot of cars just playing the game the way it was intended to be played. And it's not intended for you to unlock things quickly in Gran Turismo. It's always been about the grind. So I don't know if that answers one of the questions later on, but it probably does.
Well, I think at this point, most of our audience is familiar with the fact that this game came out, got good reviews, and then they changed the economy around. And now they just keep botching things and people are getting very, very mad.
They already sent out an update saying that they're going to change everything. They're going to make it easier to unlock, to win money. They're going to award us all $1 million, or I think it was 100,000 or $1 million. whatever. It's like it was a nice little thing, but it's still only can pay for like a fifth of one of the high end cars. Like, to put that in perspective, it's like them giving out $1. Like, here, fuck you. Here's $1.
Yeah. I mean, they got to do something. And, and the thing about it is this, Sony doesn't typically do stuff like this. So the fact this is happening is just bad PR and just makes them look stupid, Like, this is an Activision move. This is a Konami move. Like, this is something you expect out of the sleazy companies, not the same company that, that publishes Horizon Zero Dawn. You know what I'm saying? So it is kind of jank. So yeah, we got questions coming up that's going to ask more about GTA, and we'll get there. I
got the next review lined up.
There you go. All right. Well, CJ writes in, says Gran Turismo 7. Hey, we're there already. Returns this week after 28 hours offline, which you want to put a pin in that. By the way, listeners, if you didn't know, they took the game down because some people were having issues with some things in there. And when they took an online-only game down to fix some issues, it then made a non-playable game for everybody who didn't even have issues. On top of that, instead of it being down for 3 hours, it was down for close to 30 hours. So another botch for this one.
I mean, that's absolutely unacceptable, man. Like, you buy a game for $70 now. Like, we're in a $70 game world now. Like, and that's unacceptable. You can't have your game down for 30 hours. What if that's the 24 hours that person had to play the game?
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's always been my argument with modern gaming, is that I don't have all this time to sink into stuff, right? So when I go to play, I need to be able to play now, not play after a 2-hour update, not play. Oh, wait, I went to go play and the internet's down. So now I can't actually access the digital games I own. Like, for me, I've always had issue with anything that has to do with, the cloud, obviously, but freaking just, if I can't put it in and play it, it just infuriates me. So I would definitely, use this opportunity to say, guys, games like this is kind of what you're asking for. I know you don't want it to be this way, but you kind of put yourself in a position to where if you are going to play an online only game, this kind of comes with the territory. So like it's almost like you can't be mad at him.
No, you set yourself up for this world. Like, everybody accepted this online future with all these bullshit games that they keep spending money in. Now that's all the developers want to make. Like, we're living in a world where this is going to be the norm, it's going to be the standard.
Yeah, and it sucks. It's a really sucky standard. But that being said, CJ writes in and says, after 28 hours of being offline with no explanation from Sony or the devs. Now, back in game credits have been drastically reduced and microtransactions limits greatly increased. Do you think Sony's strategy of aggressively predatory microtransactions and player disrespect will allow them to regain market share they have conceded to the player-focused Xbox environment? And I'm going to add a little bit to this one and say not just the Xbox environment in general, but Forza. Like, Xbox has done really well with Forza. Like, that is the one feather in their cap that they seem to consistently get right and they don't screw up. Like, Halo used to be that, like, oh, you played Xbox games because of Halo. Or excuse me, Xbox in general because of Halo. That ain't the case anymore, because Halo ain't what it used to be. I personally have such a strong distaste for 343 just because of the way they've handled Halo and the way they've botched it. And the fact that, like, this game's been out for how long now and it still does not have, like, the online or the co-op campaign or Forge mode. Like, granted, I'm at a point in my life where I wouldn't play Forge mode, but, like, it's so frustrating. So you have a company who has, let their main franchise, the thing that saved them and they really put them on the map to begin with as a gaming company, they have handed it over to a studio that has consistently botched that game, that franchise, over and over and over again. Right? But yet they're still garnering more and more goodwill every day because of their consumer-friendly practices, that even though their main franchise suffers because of their management, they're still gaining goodwill. right? Then they have their racing franchise who can seemingly do no wrong, right? With either a version of it, Forza Motorsport or Forza Horizon. So then you got PlayStation over here that typically is known for having the high quality games that are consistently good. Then they turn around and do some stupid trash like this. And it's just like, to me, it's almost like, are you trying to give Microsoft the ball? Like, are you trying to make them like more successful? Because it's, I don't know about you, Joe, but it just seems like you got to have some meetings. You got to sit around a table to make some of these decisions, right? And at any point in time, somebody like you or I would have sat there and said, this is a stupid idea. You don't do this. What do you think?
I mean, again, it's like almighty dollar, right? Like people want to make money, and the gaming industry is about making money now. I think the saddest part about the gaming industry is like it's two different worlds, right? There are people who are still in it to make beautiful games, and while they still want to make a profit, it's more about the game they're making than the profit they're making. And you can see that, like, it still exists in the indie sector. It still exists with some AAA games, but I feel like for the most part, like all these bigger companies, like your Squaresoft, your EA, your not your BioWare, basically any game that has like a free to play structure, or even Epic with Fortnite, right? It's kind of ridiculous that like they just thrive on these microtransaction gotcha mechanics, and they want all their games to have them. Like I was expecting Tiny Tina to have like super microtransaction laden shit. I haven't bought it yet, so I don't know if it does. So if anybody wants to shout out in the Facebook group when this comes out and tell me if it's like microtransaction ridden, but that's what gaming is now. It's microtransactions. They can't just like, and it's funny because a lot of people say like, well, the gaming industry, games are so expensive. It's so expensive to make a game. You can't just rely on selling it for $70. You realize how like much money they make selling games, like just games in general. It's why Game Pass doesn't make any sense to me, because of how much money Sony makes selling games, like, or Nintendo makes selling games. It's like Nintendo sells all their consoles for a loss. Why? Yeah. Because they make it all up in game sales.
So
actually, I don't think they actually sell it for a loss, because I think the Switch kind of like evens out. So they sell it. I don't think they sell it for any profit, but they don't sell it for a loss. I think it's like close. But anyway, would you like me to go on to my next review?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is from Triumphern. This game gets a 0. Greedy MF. It don't matter. Thanks to Elden Ring, I ain't no one gonna play this cash grab. It's damn shame. Was one of my all-time faves destroyed just to make money off of consumers who already paid $70 fucking dollars. Fuck you, Polyphony Digital, and I never write reviews. But this is horseshit. I legit bought the PS5 with this game in mind. So disappointed at Polyphony. I almost learned everything I knew about cars from this series. I've been there since day one with this game, and they fucking ruined it. And they implemented restructured microtransactions after the reviewers, fucking scumbags, fuck you, Kazunori Yamaguchi, I can't believe I read that right, trying to justify this shit. I should have bought the physical copy to use that shit as paperweight or a doorstop. Stuck with the digital version that I will never play. Anyways, I'll go outside and drive a real car instead. Fingers crossed that the next numbered Forza doesn't go down the same road. But who am I kidding? Thank you, Triumphern. That was a damn good review, and I agree with a lot of his sentiments. I do feel like this game is very predatory with its microtransactions and priced the cars way too high, though. Like they were never this expensive. And Darrell, did you know you can't sell cars in Gran Turismo 7?
I did not know that.
Yeah, and you also
can't even get money back from your purchase.
No, and also you cannot win cars multiple times. As far as like you can't go to the same like cup and just win the car over and over again and sell it like you used to. So they took away a lot of like old school fundamentals that made Gran Turismo what it was. Like I loved going to like the Sunday Cup and winning it and selling the shitty like Hyundai that you won over and over again. So that was like 15,000 in the bag plus like 30,000 for finishing the cup. You just do it, rinse and repeat for like a whole day. You could buy a supercar just by playing the worst cup in the game. You can never do that now.
Well, and again, this is what I don't understand, right? Like, you had to go out of your way to throw away all your goodwill, because no one's saying that the game plays bad, and no one's saying that the game looks bad.
No, it's getting 9s and 10s and 8s.
But it's like, oh man, here's all this goodwill. Now let's do this thing. And I just don't understand why there was nobody there that said, hey, this is a bad idea.
It's almost like they waited until the game got good reviews, and then they were like, oh, fuck everyone.
Yeah. I mean, it's
like
it's
kind of disgusting. It's like, oh man, this game is so much fun, Darrell. Played for so many hours, and they're like, oh yeah, well fuck your life. You know all those cars you wanted to buy because you were so close to earning them? Yeah, we're just gonna make them out of reach now.
And that's coming from, listen here, ladies and gentlemen, fans of the show. That's coming from two Sony ponies. Like, I 100% agree with the reason why everyone's mad. Like, I think it's awful. You know, I'm just glad it didn't happen to me because I don't play those games. But
it happened to me.
If this was my favorite franchise, I would be freaking pissed,
dude. And like, let's just be real. Like, you can't even play the game twice on PS4 and PS5 because the accounts are shared.
Yes.
Like, that shit is annoying. And like, JT kept trying to come at me and say, no, you can get 2 platinums. You can't even get 2 platinums because the way the game works is you have to beat the final cup to win the final trophy, and you can't do it twice. So fucking annoying. Like, and you can play the races over again, but it doesn't acknowledge you beating it twice.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so ass backwards. We're in 2022. Like, why does the game have to be always online? Like, fuck that garbage. It's a fucking Gran Turismo game. Like, if you didn't have microtransaction, it wouldn't have to be online 24/7. That's the only reason it is, Darrell.
Hey, man. And, like I tell you guys, don't trust the cloud. And don't trust games that you can only play in the cloud.
It's just stupid. Like, it's like I don't understand. Like, it's like everybody has to go this route of get quick rich video game schemes, and that's all microtransactions are to me. They're just get rich quick schemes. And it's like, oh well. I mean, honestly, like, Darrell, I just read one review a few minutes ago. It just wasn't funny enough to read in the show, but like, the guy made a good point of like, why is this game not free to play?
Well, it's funny you say that. So I'm going to skip down. I'm silent on your bro writes in, says, do you think GT7 should have been free to play, considering no matter what version you own, in quotations, you are only able to play when the servers aren't down, outside of a handful of circuits and cars in a demo mode. When the servers inevitably close, will it be called one of the greatest racing games of all time, or one of the greatest racing demos? So,
I mean,
I think if you're going to have predatory microtransactions in there, pay to win stuff, I think it should be free to play. I think that's the only time that is acceptable. Jeez, I can't talk tonight. Acceptable. So, like, if your game is like just exactly like what they're doing in this game, like Fortnite, it doesn't bother me because the game is free, and my kids put in so much time and so much freaking money into Fortnite, dude. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, but like, that's eventually going to go. Like, eventually that'll go. Like, the server will eventually one day close, and all your money will be gone.
And it'll be gone. Right, I agree.
But did they have fun playing it? And that's and again,
hours and hours and hours, hundreds of hours they put in this game.
And again, that's like any game we play, Darrell. We're just throwing our lives down a tube. Like, it's okay. Like, we enjoy it because that's what we enjoy doing. But like, some people just don't understand the habit of playing video games like we play video games. But like, that's just, it's all it is like, it's just time.
That, and it's
time and money, right? It's like every game we have has a value on it, right?
Right. And I don't have any issue with that. But what I do have an issue with is when you go and drop 70 bones on a freaking game, and then they turn around and they revamp the mode to where it's essentially, the free to play model. You know what I'm saying? So I have a huge issue with that. Like, I think it's trash. And I want to say that, I want to reiterate that as a Sony pony, as a Sony fan, I think what they did was freaking awful. And I think that people should raise some cane about it. You know,
They
I
won't,
wouldn't
though.
be quiet.
They
about
won't.
it.
They won't though. Like they'll raise enough, but it's not like they raised enough to like make them change the game somewhat in the next update. But I still think, I don't know, man. It's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like it's like people love the way that they made GT Sport after a while. Like I loved a lot of things in that game. The thing I hated was it was always online, and the main mode of the game was online racing. So I don't like racing online. So then, okay, we're gonna put a full story mode in the game. Okay, you put a full story mode in the game, but it's not what you think it is. It's Pokemon for cars. They got rid of the driver level, which was the coolest thing that they added in GT Sport, and just trash microtransactions, just trash, and more trash. It's like I don't understand why they think this is like the way to go. It's mind boggling. I guess it's a money thing.
Yep. I mean, it is, and it's awful. So, you got another review for us?
Yeah. So Ryan Graft 222 writes, and he gave it a 0. I've waited 10 years for this bullshit. I want a full refund. After grinding 10 hours on campaign, you don't even give me a good car? Not to mention the credits for the good cars are ridiculous amounts. You have to grind another 10 hours just to get a good car, then another 5 hours to upgrade it. It's a money-hungry piece of shit.
Yep. These are all very honest reviews. This isn't
I mean, people are mad. Like,
Yeah.
there's hundreds of these. It's insane. Clin Oton writes, and he gave it a 0 as well. 1, online at all times. 2, overpriced microtransactions. 3, deceitful game build given to reviewers. Ooh. 4, using online at all time features to change the game's race payouts, further pushing us towards spending cash. The ability to sell vehicles removed from the game to pressure us into real world money being spent. Rehashing astronomical priced cars, a low race payout, no ability to sell cars, no ability to sell vehicles, not much game content to afford vehicles without a bonkers level of grinding, the same race, essentially paying $70 to rent a game from a company that only desire is to swindle us out of hard-earned money. We do not own this game. As long as we allow companies to get away with this anti-consumer behavior, we will be paying $70 just for the privilege of getting ripped off indefinitely. This review is amazing.
Yep. We need to have this guy on the show.
Like
that's
he hits
100%.
he hits everything on the nail. Everything he hits the nail right on the head. He's right. Like I stated before, it just takes too long to grind for things to get decent cars. You can get okay cars, and you know the way the cafe works is you unlock cars from menus as you beat different races, and those cars are pretty good cars. Like you unlock a super at one point, and then you have to upgrade it. It's not super expensive to upgrade cars, but to upgrade them to like where they're like super competitive, that takes like a couple, 100,000, credits. It's not too bad, but like to be on like the competitive level online in this game, like you have to grind for like hours and hours and hours. Yeah, I don't know, man. And he hit it on the head though, where he's like, they basically made the game so you would have to spend real world money.
Yep.
Like they're pressuring you, and the pressure's on. Like it's like, hey, like you want to be good at this game. It's like that guy who stands outside, like that like old guy who graduated from high school like 3 years ago that stands outside the bleachers with like drugs, and he's like trying to get the young kids to get into drugs. That's what they're doing with Gran Turismo 7, people.
There you go.
He's like Sony's just standing outside the bleachers, like, hey, I see you want that awesome car right there. That'll be 40 real world dollars.
Yeah,
all your friends are doing it. All your friends, all your friends are doing it. They're all buying these cars. You need to do it too, sir.
That's right. 100%,
oh wait,
man.
And here's 100,000 credits free. It's a free hit.
That's right.
You like the way that tastes? And Darrell, did you know that they limited how much they put in your wallet?
No, I didn't know.
So do you know you have 2 wallets? I didn't even tell you this. Okay, so for everyone at home, this game's so fucked up that you have 2 separate wallets. One where real world money goes, and a one where in-game credits go. Fucked up, right? And the in-game credit wallet is capped.
Huh. They force you to spend it.
So they force you to spend it
in hopes that you don't have enough. So you'll say, well, I only need a little bit more. Let me just add some of my real wallet.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
It sounds to me like they spent more time consulting on how to do this correctly than they did with, like
maybe, well, maybe not
offline mode.
I mean, they definitely spent a lot of time trying to fuck us over. I mean,
it's kind of they got you.
It's kind of insane. It's kind of insane though, and like I still love the game. That's the fucking sad part about this whole thing is I still love this game because to me it's like I'm not gonna spend money on it, and I'll grind for hours because that don't bother me because I love Gran Turismo, and that's how the old games were. The old games were you just grinded a lot, and I understand like we're in this like entitlement like society where people don't want to work for things. They don't even want to unlock things in video games anymore. It's like sad. We live in a sad world.
Yep. So. All right, Diego writes in, we're going to get away from Gran Turismo for just a second. He says, so I recently Platinum Fury, a game that I had been constantly pushing further and further down my backlog because of the perceived difficulty before I finally caved in. Suffice it to say, I have been missing out on what has become one of my favorite games ever, which brings me to my question. Are there games that you haven't started yet because of the difficulty, time constraints, or overall not feeling that it was the right time to do so? Diego, you just explained my life. That is me 1000%. If a game, I'll give you an example, the Souls games. It took me forever to play and beat Bloodborne. It took me forever to start Bloodborne. It took me forever to go back and finish Bloodborne because the game is difficult and the amount of time it takes to learn a game, and I don't know that Bloodborne is the most difficult game I've ever played, but it takes some sort of patience and it takes a little bit of dying and learning from your mistakes. And I had this mental block with the Souls games where I'm just like, I can't do these because I don't have the time. I don't have the patience. But in reality, Bloodborne was a great experience. Now, don't get me wrong, it was much better with my son. But overall, it's a good game, There's so many games. Death Stranding. Love Death Stranding from what I played from 8 hours. But like, that's a game where I know it's going to take me another 30 hours. And at this point, I got to start over because I don't even know how to play or what was going on, It's Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm getting ready to jump back into that for a pledge. Matter of fact, I might even start it tomorrow. But like, that's another game where it's big, it's time consuming. And I'm just like, I don't know that I have the time. But on the flip side, I started Horizon. And I was listening to podcasts about how Horizon's difficulty is kind of a little imbalanced. There's areas where it just seems like, I don't know if it's realistic, unbalanced. But like, there's areas where it seems like it gets difficult quickly. And so I started Horizon Forbidden West. And I was like, there's no difficulty trophies. I'll just play on story mode. It's too easy. It's actually like,
I would honestly tell you to play Final Fantasy on easy if you don't give a crap about anything else other than like just beating it for the pledge. Like just beat it on easy.
Yeah, and I may do that, but like with Horizon Zero Dawn, I was like, I don't want to play anything overly difficult, especially not Zero Dawn, Forbidden West, especially a game that's going to take me 80 hours to beat or whatever to do everything. I was like, I don't know, I'm gonna just put it in story mode. Story mode is too easy. So, but yeah, there's games that I have not started and not finished because of that for those exact same reasons. But I also wanted to provide one that like I started and it was too easy. So I'm actually going to have to bump it up. My son says he's playing it on either normal or hard. He says he thinks he chose hard, but I'm like, dang, he says he's almost at the end of it as well. So pretty stoked to hear what he's going to say. What about you, Joe? Is there anything out there that you push down your backlog because it's either long or hard?
I mean, first of all, I want to say one thing on this show. They should change the Souls game, like the genre. How they call it Souls games? They should just change it to Get Good Bro games.
There you go.
Because that's really what they are. Like, that's why they're so time consuming. It's not because they came up with this fantastic gameplay style. Like, whoa, man, this is so like innovative. And like, no, it's basically just grinding. It's like grinding to get good. You're not really getting good. You're just beating the same enemies 1,000 times over again to get good. I mean, that's every game. But like, I feel like Souls games, it's like, You do have to get good to a certain amount, but I feel like the mechanics in the games hinder you so much. Like, if they made the fucking fighting, like the fighting in Ghost of Tsushima, like, the games wouldn't be that hard. Like, the combat's just so good in those games. Like, I don't understand why they didn't take the Bloodborne style of combat and use it for every game going forward. Because the combat's just so good in Bloodborne compared to every other Souls game.
It's really good. I would say also like the Resident Evil games on like professional difficulty and nightmare modes and things like that. Like that's the same concept. It's those games you just have to play them a lot. You just have to learn the game. Like it's not that it's so difficult that it's I don't know. Sometimes some of these games like Uncharted and crushing difficulty. Sometimes you're just gonna die. Like you just got to die and figure out what you got to do different. So some of these games, and that's my problem, is I don't want to learn. I don't want to slow down and figure out what it is. I want to keep moving. I was like, oh, I got all these games. I need to be making progress. If I'm not making progress, I need to do something different. And so that's a lot of my issue.
I mean, like Gary Wittes always says, if you ain't moving, you're standing still.
Hey, you're not first, you're last. So man, that's science. All right, you got another review for us?
I do. This one's from Only One Here. He also gives this game a 0. I see a theme here. This game is complete garbage. The greedy developers are charging $70 for a game where you can't even play the campaign offline. Why are there still single-player campaigns that require you to have internet connection? Unbelievable. Most of the content can't be played offline. Developers are too lazy to give us more offline content. When it comes to the graphics, I am not some nerd that takes out my telescope and magnifying glass to analyze the graphics. In my opinion, the graphics look so slightly better than Sebastian Labo Rally Evo. That's a 2016 rally game, was accused by many to have trash graphics. So by that logic, the graphics in this game are trash too. No. Either way, the graphics are outdated and does not look like the next gen game worth $70. Whoa, partner. This game looks absolutely gorgeous. You can suck a dick on that one.
Oh, dang.
It is embarrassing that a $60 open world racer such as Forza Horizon 5 has better graphics than a circuit racer for $70. The driving physics are horrible. Every car feels like it has a refrigerator on top of the car. The cars handle even worse than it does in real life. This is a video game for goodness sake. If anything, cars should handle better in the game. If you want a game with driving physics closer to real life, take a look at Project Cars 2 or Assetto Corsa. The developers here are too cheap and lazy to make the cars handle realistically. They just made them heavy, give players the illusion that their driving is realistic. Most of the content in this game is online, so once the developers decide to switch off the servers, this game will basically become a demo. Imagine paying $70 for a demo. This is outrageously greed. This outrageous greed makes EA look like a saint in comparison. At least I can play their campaigns offline for basically any of their games that have a single player campaign. I don't recommend this game at all.
Dude, you know what though? Like that is again the point of reading these reviews. It's like, man, these guys are not wrong. $70, you wouldn't pay that for a demo.
I mean,
this game will go offline one day.
People will pay $70 to play PT again. So there are people out there.
That's a masterpiece, though.
There are people out there.
That's masterpiece.
$70 for a demo.
PT though, oof, what a game! What a freaking game! All right, CJ writes in again, and this is a good one. He says, "What are your thoughts on Sony's recent acquisition of Jade Raymond's Haven Studios? While a somewhat mythical figure, Raymond once showed promise. Her recent stints at EA and Google Stadia have cemented her as one of the industry's biggest turd nursers. Do you think this time she will actually push something out?" He killed me with that one. He sent this to me in Messenger, and I said, "Turd nurser? That's amazing."
First
so
of all,
that's going to be the name of the show.
Turd Nurser is the greatest comment of all time. Who wrote this, CJ?
Yeah, CJ did. Yeah.
Congratulations, CJ. You just won yourself Loot Bros Question of the Week.
Question of the Week.
Which we haven't done in months.
I know,
but we're bringing it back.
We brought it back just for you. You finally did it.
just like Porch Monkey, we're bringing it back.
Oh, whoa, whoa. Oh, I don't know about that one, Joe. You might went a little too far. Yes, sir. Question of the week, dude. Turd Nurser. Oh my gosh, Jade Raymond hasn't done anything in 10 years. She hasn't pushed out a game, and it's insane. People get so freaking over the moon over her. And don't get me
I feel
wrong,
like she's too busy nursing turds to push out.
she is. She's a Turd Nurser, and she's pretty. And I'm just thinking that's got to be what's so important about it, right? That she's just like, oh, you got all these goofy looking game devs, and you got this chick. I don't know. Like, I don't know what. Like, she worked on Assassin's Creed 2, but she wasn't the creative lead on Assassin's Creed 2. She was just a producer, I believe.
She's a nurser of turds, so
I don't know. I don't know what to make of it, dude. It's insane. So
I don't get it. It's like, again, it's like everyone expecting Sony to buy this like great studio. It's never gonna happen, people. Like, unless push comes to shove and it like lands in their laps, or they get lucky like Microsoft and the company's like bleeding on their deathbed, like, please buy me. Then it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I just threatened to kill a woman over the phone. Accidentally left that voicemail. Can you buy us out of here? Save our Call of Duty. Oh, by the way, you're buying Call of Duty just in time for us not to release one next year. My bad. So I don't know if you saw that, but they're not releasing Call of Duty next year.
Yeah, that's okay. They don't need it anyway. They're just gonna fucking feed you Warzone until you throw up.
Oh, I know. But that sucks though, because like I buy every Call of Duty. I play
the campaigns. So yeah,
and
I'm with you too. I'm a campaign player.
Or we're getting more Warzone. Thanks, douche.
I'm one of the 5 people. We're one of the 15 people out there who buy it for the campaign, Darrell.
Yeah, I know. What a freaking dying breed. So yeah. My watch is telling me it's bedtime. So yes, absolutely, CJ. She's a turd nurser. Will she push something out? Probably not, because it sounds to me like I don't know. She must be really, really good at some things.
Pushing out turds and nursing them
turds, because she has people convinced that she is the greatest thing since sliced bread. But I just don't understand.
She should have formed a company with that chick from with Amy Hennig. Because they're like the two developer chicks who are like well known in the gaming industry, who like honestly are just overrated as shit, like straight up.
Well, the thing is, Amy Hennig put out some amazing games for a while.
She did for a while. What's she done now? Just fuck shit up.
It's what it seems like. But the same thing goes with Jade Raymond. It's like everywhere she goes, they get shut down. It's like
maybe she's an insider for Microsoft and she's trying to get Sony shut down.
Oh,
from the inside, shit, yo. I'm on to something here.
The next purchase will be Sony Interactive Entertainment. Thank you, Jade Raymond, for coming in and effing everything up. So, I'm interested to see what's going on with this, but I mean, like, Sony got like they were touting Jade Raymond Studio before they even had a logo and a website. I remember listening to Sacred Symbols and like Colin Moriarty freaking losing his crap. He's like, they don't even have a logo. They don't like, you go to their website, there's nothing there.
I love Sacred Symbols.
I do too. But like, you know, and that's the thing is like, I've heard her name on so many podcasts. And I'm like, why is it that I know more about Jade Raymond than I do about Neil Druckmann? Why is it I hear more about
she's
Jade
got
Raymond?
Titties.
Well, hey. You know, maybe that's what it is.
Druckmann's got some titties.
That's all. I mean, it's 2022. Here all the other guys are. Like, Druckmann, get your boobies and go swim in the NCAA, bro. You can be Aquaman.
That could be the title of the show now.
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Neil Druckmann needs boobies.
Aquaman, the Turd Nurser.
Oh my gosh! Yeah,
I got 2 reviews to read back to back.
Go for it.
The first one's from Woosta Zero, and he writes in, "ScamTurismo. This game is beautiful and the physics are awesome, but that is all the game has going for it. Greed has killed this game. Some of the shadiest tactics I've ever seen in games so far, and it's sad because I do enjoy racing in the game, but the grind is disgusting. I should have waited to buy so I could have saved my money, and got a game like Elden Ring. Also, the roulettes are a joke. The roulettes are a joke because Corey and I kind of figured out how the roulette wheel worked. And like, if you stop at a certain point on the wheel, like you're always guaranteed to get like a certain reward. And I think they changed that in the update too and didn't tell people.
What?
It's some like Price is Right bullshit where you feel like you're going to win and then all of a sudden, bam, you don't. Yeah, it's annoying. The second review is actually an interesting one. I started reading and I thought it was just interesting to read. So it's from Pop Tarts 2000. I like this guy's name because Pop Tarts are dope, and probably because I haven't eaten one since 2000. To Mr. Kazunori Yamaguchi and Sony Interactive Entertainment. The legacy of Gran Turismo is one that is held close to the hearts of millions of fans across the globe, as well as our own. Polyphony Digital, as well as Sony, other first-party studios, is held to a different standard in our gaming industry. History has shown that their work leads the way in quality experiences and fair practice in an era where, unfortunately, the industry is in the opposite direction. The current state of Gran Turismo 7 is a mixed bag. On one end, you have a technical masterclass on what a first-party racing game title should be like, while at the same time leaning heavily into the same toxic practices that other infamous studios and publishers have done on heavily monetizing the insides of a fully priced game, as well as making it online only. All the while slashing the in-game economy and rewards to make it incredibly difficult to amass enough credits to fulfill the game's ultimate vision, collecting the cars. The way it currently sets up is an egregious cash grab, one that feels unlike Polyphony Digital and the Sony Interactive Entertainment's rich history of quality. We, the community, wish you would do better to not sink to those low practices of toxic studios and publishers, and to own up and make change to the game that will turn its trajectory towards the better. We want a fair in-game economy that will award us balanced amounts of credits and rewards so that we can build our collections. This as well as taking another look at the online-only decision. Days like March 17, 2022 are a prime example of why this decision will hurt the game. That was when the game was down for over a whole day.
Yep.
As fans of the series and the game, we hope you listen and engage with our concerns. We are your community. The legacy of one of PlayStation's originals and iconic series rests always in your hand. That was a very well written review. Pop Tarts 2000. I have nothing else to say besides you're right. Like the game's a cash grab. There's no reason it should be a cash grab. You already paid $70 for it. He had like, if you wanted to put all that cash grab shit in the online mode, Darrell, I would have no problem with it. But to make it so you can't progress in the single player mode, or you can't collect all the cars in the single player mode because they're making it harder because they want people to play it longer, that's a problem. That's an inherent problem with your design of your game. And to my other man, calling the game ScamTurismo, that's its new name.
Yes. ScamTurismo 7. That's
ScamTurismo Aquamama. Aquamam. Aquamam, the Turd Nurser.
That's right. Hashtag
ScamTurismo, the Turd Nurser is more like it.
There you go. Hashtag get Neil Druckmann some boobies.
Maybe that's why. Okay, so now the microtransactions make sense because they want to get him some memories.
Some memory glands. Oh my god!
Oh, that's the best episode ever.
Poor Neil. He's like, I'm over here consulting with Uncharted, and you guys are talking about giving me boobs.
We're never getting on Sony's good side.
No, they're gonna be like, oh, ScamTurismo, Aquaman, Turd Nurser.
This is another review by Dennis 3RN. I think that's how he says his name. I don't give a shit. He gave it a 0. He said, you blatantly lie with roulette prizes like it's an equal 20% chance, while in reality, more than half the time, you're going to get the lowest prize. Now you're going to update the race prizes even more badly to coerce everyone into microtransactions. Fuck off, Polyphony. This is the last time you'll ever get my money. And I was a fan of GT since GT1. You're a bunch of frauds.
Right. Get them. Get them both.
Get them.
I hope people stick to their guns too. And again, as a Sony pony, I think the only way to teach them, the only way they're going to learn from this is you guys all got to
kill the game.
Together. Kill
but the problem is the game won't die because of GT mode, because of the online scene where they give away thousands of dollars in prizes and there's pro racers and they're sponsored and shit. This game won't die. It's not going to happen, people, because those people have millions of dollars to spend on games.
Oh, well.
Do we have any more community questions?
Yeah, we got another one. So.
All right, if you want to go, because I have another review squared up, but it's a long one, so I'd rather take a break from talking for a few minutes.
All right, cool. Yeah, so Matt G writes in and says, "Did you ever play a game with music, with great music but horrible gameplay? I'm talking Rob Zombie doing the soundtrack for Nightmare Creatures 2. Awesome music, gameplay not so awesome." This is a very interesting question.
Yeah, and I'm sure we probably have the same answer twice. Wet.
Yes. Dang it. That's a good one.
Wet is the answer. Wet is the biggest answer. Like that soundtrack, that game's absolutely phenomenal. Like the mariachi, like metal or rock music is absolutely phenomenal in that game. Surrounded by busted ass controls.
I would actually lean on Doom a little bit with this one too, because
because of the fucking platforming.
Yes, that's Jesus. Awful.
It only got worse in the second one because you have to do more of it, and I'm like, they didn't fix it. So it's like, all right, you're not gonna fix your platforming, and then you're gonna just make me do more of it.
Yeah,
fuck that.
That's one of those situations where they thought they were doing a good thing and they were doing a bad thing. So I want to give a shout out to Levi, friend of the show. He actually dude's such a huge Doom fan, right? He's like, I'm gonna get a new Doom. We're going hardcore on Doom, blah, blah, blah. He got Doom and he called me at work one day and he was like, dude, you got a minute to talk? I stepped outside. I'm like, what's up, bro?
He's like making it all serious. Like there's a life crisis in his life.
Yeah, dude, I kid you not. Some of mine and Levi's conversations just pretty much sound like that, where it's like, do
you have a minute to talk?
You got a minute to talk? Like it's something serious, and I get on the phone with him. He's like, dude, let's talk about the Oculus Quest, or something like that. And so homie called me up and he's like, dude, this new Doom is such a disappointment. And he was so mad at just like the way that they added so much platforming and the way that they kind of treated the moment-to-moment gameplay. And I didn't play Doom Eternal for that reason. Like his candid behind the scenes, like not like exaggerated, on like line or whatever, just minding his conversation was so, for someone who is such a huge fan of Doom, it was such a negative review that I was like, I mean, I'm glad you told me because that'll save me from. He was like, it's so bad. He was like, don't buy it. I'll just let you use my copy. Okay, like don't even buy this game because it's such a disappointment. And so, Doom's platforming. Really, that was. I mean, I know I've talked about it on the show before that like I was playing Doom and I was really digging it, and then I stopped because the platform sucked, and I never got back to it.
I mean, it's worth getting back to. I would say beat it because it's a phenomenal fucking game. Like the game is just so buttery smooth. Like when you do the combat and stuff. But yeah, there's no reason to have platforming in Doom. Like just why?
Yeah, I would say too. Also, Battletoads.
The new one or the original one?
No, that new one sucks. That new one, I can't believe Phil Spencer greenlit that game.
I mean, I think the problem with the new one is that they took my favorite part of the game, which is super badass titty mama, and they covered her all up and they made her look like she's like Mother Teresa. I feel like that killed the game for me. She was one of my favorite things growing up.
You got to get all the lefties online, the keyboard warriors. You got to simmer down.
Unbelievable.
Yep. So, no, dude, I'm gonna say I think Battletoads. I love the Battletoads soundtrack. I freaking love that. But like the gameplay in certain sections was booty, like just not good. Especially Battletoads and Double Dragon, which was arguably one of the best ones. But it had sections in the game where it's like, oh my gosh, dude! Like, how is this game so fun at 1 minute and so awful at another? So that's going a little old school there for you SNES folks. Speaking of, is that playable on the SNES like virtual console, like the subscription?
No, nope. Oof. Nope.
Dude, you know, I've been paying for that since I got my Switch, like 3 years now, 4 years, something like that. I've used it one time. I got on there when it first, like when I first got it. I saw the handful of SNES games. I saw the handful of NES games. I never played any of them. And
I feel like you should beat those for easy points.
I still haven't canceled my subscription to the Nintendo Online. So I'm actually playing, and I haven't played it this week, but last week I was playing some Resident Evil 5 in black and white on the Switch. Playing this dope black and white filter on there. I've never changed the filters on there for visuals.
Oh yeah, it's insane. You can change it to like this ultra like violet mode. It's insane. Like one of my dudes at work plays it in ultraviolet. I'm like, how do you play it like that? He's like, I can see it better. I was like, oh, each their own, bro.
Yeah, dude. So that's the end of community questions. You want to finish us off with one more GT7 review?
Sebastian Baez gives it a 0. The lack of a real single-player mode, always online requirements, and the super inflated prices with low race rewards make it way too hard to even upgrade cars effectively, let alone buy new ones without hours of grinding on the same few tracks. The split-screen multiplayer may as well have not even been included, with how frustrating it is to actually try and play, with assist features either not included for the second player or buried in the menus with no clear way to change them. The graphics look great on PS5, but that's not enough when the game costs $70 and has so many issues. Most of these issues can and likely will be fixed, but at this point, it's just a glorified beta. Not even mentioning the disrespect by the devs through the lowering race rewards in recent updates, only further confirming that this game is just a cash grab with no care for the great community behind these games. Also, the fact that the game rewards you with a ticket to buy more luxurious cars that have a set time limit feels like a slap in the face. Oh, I didn't even talk about that. So I'll talk about that for 1 second. So Darrell, every once in a while they give you this golden ticket bullshit where you can buy like a super limited car.
Yep.
But it's only available for 15 days.
The car's only available for 15 days?
Yeah. So it's like the Disney Vault bullshit of Gran Turismo. It's like, oh, let's open the Gran Turismo Vault for 15 days to buy this super race car. Better save up all your credits.
Yeah, there was a comic book shop, local comic book shop that I used to love going to, and I bought some killer comic books out of there. And they had that. They had a vault, and they would be like, all right, we're going to open up the vault this weekend, and you'd go into this literal vault of crazy old comics and just create like boxes and boxes of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so dope. But then they said they didn't want any Trump supporters there, so I never went back.
Jesus, that story took a turn. I was waiting for you to say, "Oh, that was cool and great."
No, freaking douchebags. They're like, we don't want a certain type of people here anymore. So like, well, F off. You want to get my money, buddy, in your stupid vault?
You can take your vault and shove it.
That's right.
So, all right. So the rest of these cars can cost 80% of the max PP you can get for free. The auction house works the same way, but with a constant rotation rather than unlock as a reward. It shouldn't be on the player to farm the same track for hours a day over the course of a week just to buy a single car, hoping they don't take too long and then the car is no longer there, or they only lose their chance at buying it from an unknown amount of time. The inability to even sell any of the overpriced upgrades or duplicate cars you inevitably collect seem like either a major oversight or a malicious choice to further punch players to buy overpriced microtransactions. I will update this review if any of these major issues are fixed, but for now, this game needs more time developing and should be avoided until real changes are made. The recent updates, however, have felt like this game is purely just a massive cash grab and the developers just don't care about the players. I understand wanting to prevent grinding the same track, but this is extremely limited content and the low rewards is the only way players can unlock even a single nice car. Lowering track rewards and releasing cars that cost nearly as much money as the player is allowed to earn just seems like they only care about earning more and more money regardless of the image it will give them. Good job, Sebastian. I think that's a a great review. I think it's a good time capsule of where the game is at right now. And you know what, Darrell? Like, they can fix a lot of this.
Yep, they sure can.
Oh man, this guy just writes. He wrote. This is from GT Fanatic 4705. He says, "Gran micro transactionismo," and that's all he wrote. And I was like, "That's amazing.
That's it. That'd be the last one we read. That's the best.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
I do have an update before we get out of here, Joe. It is official. Noah just texted me, said he has beaten Horizon Forbidden West, and his first playthrough was on hard.
Whoa!
Yeah,
Congratulations,
little
show off,
little swinging D action right there.
Wow! Like, yeah. I feel like I vote for 2 points on that because he beat it on hard.
There you go. So, but yeah, good job, son. I just texted him. I was like, good job. So he texted me in all caps. He's super stoked.
That's awesome, man. What's his next game? Text him that.
I don't know.
What's he gonna do next?
I told him I'd buy him Elden Ring for his birthday. So who knows if we wait that long.
Dude, maybe just surprise him and just like put it in your car and just buy it.
Dude,
and
that's a really good idea.
Just have it just show up because he beat a game.
Because I got the WWE money. That's what I put in my little wallet.
Dude, just buy Elden Ring. It's cheaper anyway. You can buy it for PS4 and get the PS5 upgrade.
Oh, dang it, man. Dang it. See, you're talking me into it.
Just do it right now. Like, don't even tell him. And then have it just show up. Because it'll just show up on the thing, right?
Yeah, it will.
Like that it's downloading. I want to see what his face would be like when he sees it.
Well, I might just do that then.
Do it right now while we're recording.
Well, I
want to see his I want to hear his reaction.
Well, he's not down here with me. I'm in the basement. I'm locked in the cave. So I tell you what, I might do it in the morning. I might be like after church, but hey man, let's go play some games and have it on there.
Oh man.
But yeah,
that'd be crazy though. He's just playing in the middle of a game, and all of a sudden it's like Elden Ring's downloading. Like,
yeah, what? It's ready to be played. It's installed and ready to go.
Not even that, just like that it's like purchased, because like it'll pops up that it's downloading. Like right in the middle of the game, it'll whatever he's playing, it'll say Elden Ring is installing or whatever, or is downloading.
I wonder if he's going to go for the platinum.
I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't. It can't be that hard.
I don't know. He didn't platinum the last one, but he loved Horizon Zero Dawn. So that's right. That's my boy knocking out big games. What? So Joe, I enjoyed it, man.
That's awesome, man. I was skeptic of how tonight was going to go. Well, first of all, we started off late. We almost didn't even record.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. And then
this show turned out to be a masterpiece. It's a fucking masterpiece.
So. Masterpiece, baby. Yeah, I had messaged you, listeners, a little behind the curtain action. I was like, Joe said he's eating dinner with his family. He'd be on around 9:30. I've been in here recording for hours, so I've been doing other stuff for the Patreon and everything. And of course, I did the interview with the game dev that's going to be attached just right here at the end of the show. So I was like, you know what, man? I was like, my boys are begging me to play games with them. I was like, I might just come 9:45. I was like, we might just not do this. And then you were like, oh, I'm actually waiting on you. And I was like, okay, cool. So we jump in, had a great time. I'm glad we did it. I'm glad we didn't fail. I'm glad we worked it out. So this was a good show. It was a good time. And I think that this is good for our listeners because I do lean into, giving Microsoft a really hard time. And typically Sony doesn't really do anything that warrants, any actual real backlash until now. So I think this is a good thing for us to come on here and say, hey, you know what? Sometimes Sony sucks too.
Yeah, I mean they're not bulletproof.
Yep.
So. They don't make bad games; they just make bad decisions.
There you go. So this has been the Loot Bros podcast. We are going to end the show with an interview. It's about another hour and a half, actually.
Oh my god, is that long?
Yeah, it was an hour and a half. So it was a good time. I got to sit down with the owner of Plasma Beam Games. I highly encourage you guys to listen to it because we talk about more than just his game. So I mean, we talk about his game for a while, but we talk about some cool stuff. So we had a good time. And he'll definitely be back on to talk about other things in the future. Thank you, Joe, for coming on here.
Anytime, man. Anytime.
And definitely check out the Patreon, guys. We have some really good stuff on there. Me and the boys put in some work this weekend for the Patreon. So That being said, we're out of here.
Check you later, guys.
We're out of here until the interview. The interview's next.
Yeah, listen to that.
It's the Loot Bros podcast. We're going to talk about video games and mow your grass. Loot Bros podcast. We're going to talk about butts and slurp and penises. So stay tuned.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Loot Bros podcast. I'm your host, Residentdarrell. And for tonight's interview, I have a returning guest, someone I've been looking forward to talking to. We've had him on the show in the past. He's made some progress in his game. He's got a second playable demo available. I have Mr. Kenneth Dunlop, the owner, founder, head developer, all of the above for Plasma Beam Games. How you doing, brother?
Hey, Darrell. Yeah, pretty good. Like I said, we have got the second demo out now. I feel weird now because like all the movies that are made by one person, but like it's one person who's the actor and the director.
Yeah.
They're known to be terrible, but I hope that doesn't extend to the games.
Well, I haven't played the new demo yet. I haven't played this particular game, but I did play your last game on Steam, and I quite enjoyed it.
So, good. Yeah. What you mean? Super Space Slayer 2? The actual whole previous thing. Oh, yeah, cool.
Yeah. And I told you before, like I at the time, I was like really big into these space shooters that were like given easy trophies. I'm a reformed trophy hunter. Yeah, I have a much finer taste now, finer palate. But at the time, I was like, bro, you need to get this on the PlayStation and bust out some trophies. And the trophy hunting community would have supported you and funded you through your next game because, like, that stuff is hot right now. But I only say that because I'm reformed. I have been challenged by another podcast not to play any of these easy, cheap trophy games. And so since then, I've just decided not to play video games. I actually went back to school. I just got my mortgage license. And I finished up all kinds of law stuff for the mortgage industry, and I'm doing all these things other than video games. So that has nothing to do with our conversation tonight. I just kind of want to throw that out there for the listeners. That'll get a couple chuckles out of the guys. But, you know, you and I in the past, we've gotten together. We've talked about your game, right? We've talked about Super Space Galaxy. Like I said, you've got the second demo out. You're a little farther along. So this will be a real casual conversation for the listeners, like kind of a recap to see how you're doing, where you're at with all that. Give you a chance to shill and pimp your stuff. We might talk a little bit of Punisher because, you know, last time you and I had...
a little bit. I was thinking of Daredevil this time as well. I have
there you go.
Daredevil. Maybe the first... I mean, we're probably going to talk about Punisher as well, but I think maybe this is the Daredevil episode.
There you go. Well, the best part is... the timing of you coming on the show and then them this past week just putting all those episodes of Daredevil, Punisher, Defenders, all that stuff, that's all on Disney Plus. So it's all fresh for a new audience now.
Oh, great. So, yeah. I saw Jessica Jones over Christmas. That's kind of, I'll probably refresh some of it.
There you go. Awesome.
As well. That overlapped a bit with Punisher as well, but I think we'll get to that later, I think.
Absolutely. All right, so Kenneth, for the listeners that are new, maybe people that didn't listen to the last interview, why don't you give them just a brief overview of who you are and what you're doing, and then we'll get into the new game.
Yeah, so I'm Kenneth Dunlop. I'm the solo indie dev of Plasma Beam Games. I'm trying to brand myself as Earth's mightiest game designer.
There you go.
It's kind of a mix of the Avengers and Guybrush Threepwood and various things. But I was also inspired by John Romero, I think, was pretty boastful while he was up and coming. The guy who was instrumental in making a lot of the original Doom and stuff.
Yes.
He would, I forget if I mentioned that story last time, he would sign his letters as John Romero, contest winner, future rich person. So, you know, if you think I'm over-egging the pudding, just wait until you see what John Romero's doing. And I have already made a game for Google Play and Steam, Super Space Slayer 2, which is kind of an unconventional space shooter. It was built around kind of redesigning how space shooters work. So now you shoot at things by tapping the screen, and you move by swiping. So it works a bit like an endless runner, except for the fact the levels are not endless. So it's all rather redesigned, but dare I say, it's kind of unconventional, but the tutorial had a lot of work put into it. I did a whole article about the tutorial and stuff that got into a magazine once. Actually, sorry, Darrell, I'm just looking at my wave. I hope my wave is big enough. Your waves, and we're looking at like the Zencaster software here. I hope my wave, because yours is bigger than mine.
Hey man, you know what? It's just I was born that way. You know, sometimes you got big ones, sometimes you got small ones. It's all good. No,
All right.
in post, I'll actually make sure that everything's leveled correctly. You don't worry about it.
All right, cool. Yeah, so that was the original game, and it's uses the graphics from Tyrion, which are completely free to use. They're available, and it's kind of full of references to 90s video games. I mean, that's sort of where I'm coming from. I'm a kind of 1995 person, I think. I think my heart died in 1995, and that's where it remains.
It's a good year. A lot of good stuff in the 90s.
Thoroughly redesigned modern stuff. What I'm working on now, though, is Super Space Galaxy, which this does follow the pattern of, like, you know, Batman 1, Batman 2, Batman Forever, pretty much. It's that scheme. And Super Space Galaxy is designed to be on PC. I actually recommend using a controller for this one, really. And it's much more open. You can go from anywhere to anywhere, really. Almost. I mean, you can't quite. That's something we could go into talking about how I've designed the Galaxy map. It's an open-world space shooter, essentially. And I just recently released the new playable demo where we've got a moving camera system. We've got there's resources on the planet, some music we got in there, all sorts of better stuff to make it more of a real game, I think, this time. Next up, I'm planning on doing quests and things in there, but I think that'll be next quarter's work.
Awesome. So, percentage-wise, what would you think? Are you 25%, 50%, 75% done on your game? Where are you thinking you're at right now?
Right. Well, in terms of actual content, I feel like I must have crossed 50% now, because there's quite a lot of the backbone of the game. I mean, things I haven't done yet would include, like, the settings menu and kind of selecting a save profile at the beginning and stuff. But I think what's going to happen in the next couple of months is going to be a lot more kind of fun content that people actually care about, because these things start off slow. Like, it's not obvious if you're just playing the game, but these things do start off slow, where I started off just doing things like creating a system to debug things, making, I don't know, text appear. Actually, the text system was a nightmare as well. I've fought many times to get text to appear on screen exactly the way I want it to, and just stuff like that. And those are all, that's why games take a long time, basically. That's why games get delayed, because making the content isn't like just kind of, you've got these things and you kind of throw them into a basket somewhere.
Gotcha.
You've got to put them together, and they don't work most of the time. And even when it looks like they work, they still don't work.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, now that you've gotten the demo out, I mean, I don't know, do you have are you using a group of testers, or you just have like friends and family that you sent it to first? I mean, how's the feedback on all that?
Well, actually, my biggest feedback so far came from the musician who did the music in it so far. I mean, we've got the main theme of it from a musician some time ago, but most recently I got this guy. Yeah, he's Alan Zax. I might as well name drop him. He's on YouTube, and I think he's on SoundCloud. And he made the music for the Galaxy map when you're flying around in the galaxy, but we also made a kind of similar-ish track when you're in solar systems. So this has actually been the culmination of something I've been looking forward to for a long time. Let me just try being really close to the microphone. No, I just have a small wave. That's what it is.
Yeah, you're fine either way, bud.
Feeling insecure about my wave.
It's that's not the size of the wave; it's how you use it.
Yeah, just the smoothness of my voice. So we've got the galaxy music, but then you zoom into the solar system, which is something we do have in Super Space Slayer 2 as well, and the music sort of seamlessly transitions from one track to another. And it's a simple enough effect to program and everything, but I've always found it very effective. Like there's stuff in Mario Galaxy. I think the boy base galaxy. Is anyone still calling them boys? I think they're called buoys. I've got mixed feelings about. Look, I got to admit, Americans have cleaned up English in ways I do appreciate, but I don't know. You have ways of simplifying these things. Anyway, it's just that I don't know. I was perfectly good at it beforehand, so I feel like I'm moving out. Yeah, like in buoy-based Galaxy or whatever you're supposed to call it now. There's moments where you're underwater and it plays like this sort of watery version of the music, and then you surface and it plays the bigger music and stuff. And nothing is really even happening in Mario Galaxy when you do this. But it's still kind of cool. It's just sort of atmospheric. So I think I used that moment actually of surfacing in buoy-based Galaxy as a big guidepost there. So we have something kind of like that. You go from the Galaxy map into the solar system, and the music changes. And I definitely showed him some stuff from Mass Effect 2 as well. So we do take stuff we like and kind of put it in a blender there and show it to a musician. And it's always hard to know quite how much of it goes into the finished product because I'm showing this to somebody else. But it's exciting stuff.
Yep. Very cool. Very cool. Awesome. So in the past, you and I talked about, you said this is going to be an open world, Galaxy space shooter, right? So, there's going to be your hub area, and then you'll just kind of fly around, find planets. Or is there random encounters and things, or is it all pretty set? Here's the map. Here's where you have everything populated.
Random encounters is pretty much it. Like, because I implemented the random encounters in the last demo as well. Because there's quite a few kind of design things to get right about when the enemies appear. Because if I say put the enemies around the map just in certain places, you hit them like a landmine or something, then you could potentially move around, like hit multiple enemies at once, and now you're kind of overwhelmed by too many enemies at once. And random encounters certainly sort that out. And people are kind of familiar with random encounters as well. So far, I'm doing random encounters. I was wondering if I could change it so that as you pick up more stuff, like as you achieve objectives, that makes guys appear or something. Because the problem is you can move around very freely, and I can't quite like lock the door behind you the way I could in normal games. Like in Zelda or something, they can get away with anything because they have the luxury of walls and doors and all sorts of things. But my spaceship can't. No walls can stop your spaceship, so I have to design things pretty carefully.
About how long is the demo? How much of a slice of the game is it?
Well, because there's a tutorial that might take you. Tutorial's still kind of being tested as well. Like the best feedback I got was from the musicians so far. The tutorial I think is going to evolve actually as well, because I know the tutorial tends to be the last thing that gets made. Actually, it's the first thing the player looks at, but in terms of what gets made, it's actually the last thing to get made because you've got to know what's in the game, and that quite often changes. So yeah, I think the actual tutorial is going to be sort of 15 minutes of stuff. I've got kind of the sequence. If you start off on a city planet at the center of the map with no money and no fuel, you have to go and gather resources. And I've let you do that peacefully to begin with. No bad guys will attack you in the tutorial. And then you go and sell the stuff, buy fuel, leave, and then you can venture forth. And kind of the reward for venturing forth is that I've got new weapons for you to collect. We've got 3 different kinds of weapon, and to get more powerful, you kind of need all 3 kinds at once. So you've got the main weapons. I think about 30 main weapons in the game now, and you can switch freely between them. So I'd be interested to see what sort of combos come out of that as well.
Very cool. Very cool. Any kind of boss fights or anything?
No, like enemies are something I've definitely. That's probably on the agenda next, really. So far, it's these drone guys who shoot at you. There isn't really boss fights yet. But I'm thinking, I do have some ideas. The Steam page actually is already promising, I think, sniper enemies and juggernaut enemies. I kind of know what graphics I'll use for all this. So I figured, because the big design challenge for me is your ship moves fast in this game. And that makes things kind of difficult to control, because, like, wherever I want you to be, you could be not there in, like, a second. So
right.
So each enemy needs to have some kind of way of countering your speed almost. So the drones are about as fast as you. I just made them fast. And I thought, hey, what if you could counter the speed with range as well? Like there's these, you're just driving along and then this kind of laser is targeting you or something. And you've got to move close to this guy who's shooting you because their range is actually longer than yours. And you get enemies like that occasionally. I think there's some guys like that in Enter the Gungeon where they've got these kind of lasers. Because video game snipers was really dumb and they have like big colourful lasers. And, and always before they pull the trigger, they just decide to stop aiming.
Yep.
That's what they like to do.
So overall, let's kind of backing out of the actual details of the game, and I'm just kind of curious as to how has your experience been while developing this game? I know you're the Earth's mightiest indie game developer, and you're doing this all on your own. Have you? And this might not even be a great question, but have you had fun? Have you enjoyed doing this?
Yeah, I think I have really. I mean, boy. I think the honest answer in a way is like short term, it can be difficult in a way. Like, you're making some sacrifices. You're doing stuff in the evening when you actually play a lot less video games than I used to as well. I do have Elden Ring now. We can talk about that later maybe. But
yeah,
what I've seen is actually, because I've seen videos about having kids apparently does not actually increase your happiness. That's something I heard about. I don't know where you stand on that, but just something... I follow some people who tell you that having children does not increase your happiness. You just remember the kind of the best bits and stuff. But then I saw a different video. I do read the comments. The comments are fine, by the way. And I saw people talking not about happiness, but about fulfillment. And I think maybe we need like a richer vocabulary for these things.
Yeah.
A lot of the people who like had children say they sort of don't make you happier exactly, but they make you more fulfilled. And I think maybe that's what the truth is about building this thing, because it's something I've wanted to build for a long time. Like, this is not just it kind of can't be some passing fancy, because it takes years to build. But I had something like the idea of this back in when I was, I don't know, back in year 2005 or something maybe. There was this thing I was building. I've done a blog post about this. It was called Lone Star, after the character in Spaceballs. I thought that sounded kind of cool. And that was also going to be an open world space shooter. It had planets, but you didn't really do anything in them. They were just kind of a menu where you could buy stuff. And then you'd fly around and, I guess, shoot guys and shoot asteroids and stuff. There is a blog post about this with a video showing the complete content of Lone Star. There's not that much. There's like a minute of stuff to do, and some of it isn't there. But so it's kind of exciting to see this stuff you thought of when you were, I don't know, a young lad and a mere stripling, and having it kind of happen now. It makes your life make more sense, Like, here are these things. It'd be a real pity if, like, here are all these things I was doing when I was a kid. But now that I'm an adult, all that stuff was just a waste of time before I don't know, become an accountant or something.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of weird. That'd make kind of a nonsense of one's life.
Well, I mean, I think, when you're talking happiness and fulfillment, anyone who's a creative in general, whether it's music, art, gaming, film, creatives have to create. Like, I think that's, I think that all of us in the creative space understand that there's pain in that pleasure.
Yeah.
Like I have to write music. I have to do things. Like, I have to be in that space. And when I'm not, I long for it. I desire it. But when I'm doing it, there's parts that suck and there's parts that are great. Like when you actually have the thing that you've been working on, that you've been laboring on, it's like, finally, And so I totally understand. I see what you're saying, and I get that too. With it, does creating make you happy? Maybe at times.
I know, like the ancient Greeks, I know had words like hedonia for pleasure, and then they have like Aristotle talks about eudaimonia, which might be closer to fulfillment and stuff. Yeah, I feel that we've kind of haven't quite got the right vocabulary for this stuff some of the time. I've just been what you were saying as well reminded me of a kind of a mini story. I had this was ages ago, working with an artist who did not work out for Super Space Slayer 2, I actually ended up going to this artist's house and like meeting her parents and everything. It was kind of huge. It was a lot of, it kind of stung because it was a lot of work, like, you know, spending my weekend meeting her parents and everything, having lunch and everything. I had this whole weekend dealing with this artist and showing her a bunch of stuff like I do with all my artists. I tried to feed them things I like so they kind of have some idea. But yeah, as I met her dad, I remember like we were walking up to outside the garage, and I was told that this dad loved cars. And he was always working on cars. He loved cars. And of course, as we approach the car, Dad slides out from under it on one of those little wheelie board things that car people like to use when they're working on the side of their cars. And the first thing Dad said is, "Oh, I really hate these cars. They never work, and you're going to work on them all day." And I just thought to myself, "Yup, and that's a guy who loves cars."
Yes, it is. It's so funny. I was working on, right before you and I talked, I was working on a light fixture, right? My wife wanted to change this light fixture in our breakfast area. And I was like, I have an interview in like an hour and a half. I like can't be late. And she was like, well, I'll help you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm getting up there. And I love the finished product on any kind of home renovation, any kind of like change that you do, something that's like, I did that. But my God, the process through it. I'm up there. I'm on the top of this ladder. I'm pulling this thing down. I'm putting the new one on. I'm like, I freaking hate doing this stuff. I freaking hate it. This is so stupid. Blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, I'm telling my son, by the way, don't you ever pay for anyone to do this for you. Like, let me explain to you. This does this. This does this. Learn it now so that when you're my age and you're having to do this stuff for your family, you're not like, you know, calling someone else, or like do as much as you can for yourself and learn it while you can. And my dad never showed me how to do anything. My dad, I've never even seen him turn a wrench, pull out a screwdriver. So like I've had to learn everything on my own, and I'm trying to instill that into my boys. But and it's like, I love when it's done. I love the final product, but the process through, it's just like, it's pain.
Part of the trouble, I think, is when you're tearing up the house, you're kind of tearing up almost a part of yourself as well.
Absolutely.
It hurts. Like I think I get the same trouble with changing the programming in my game. Like those are things I worked on. It's like surgery, and you know, most of the time it works, and it is a net positive in the end and everything. It did, but yeah, while you're doing it, you are tearing out things that perhaps should not be torn out, and breaking a few things along the way, and it's worth it in the end. But yeah, it is surgical for what nobody actually really wants to do surgery.
Right, right.
Necessary evil.
Awesome. Okay, so what we've established so far is new game is coming along nicely. We got the demo coming. Pain in the pleasure of creation, but it seems like it's all on the up and up for you. And it seems like you're it's going to pay off in the end. I know you said roughly 50% done, but do you have a target release time, or are you just kind of like, you know what, I'm going to put in all the time it needs until it's done?
Well, I think the main thing is I did put when it's done, and that was kind of fun to do, even though I know there's a number of things about doing things. I haven't written the blog post I might write about this yet, but I do know that some of the best things in is something I believed for a long time. So when you do make these games, this is back when I was working at Natural Motion Games in, I don't know, like 5 years ago or something. But I was building Super Space Slayer 2, and one of my friends there said, like, when is this game going to get finished? And I realized that, yeah, this definitely had to be on a collision course with ending, because I'd heard about the dreaded feature creep, where you get all excited about adding more features and stuff, and I thought, like, better or worse, this has to end. And it helped that I was surrounded by a lot of other people who probably wanted to make games and probably didn't. Like, you know, if these guys had built something, they would probably be showing it to everyone. So you start to think, I don't want to be like that. If only just because of the contrast, you think, like, I don't want to be like those guys. I want to build something and finish it. And because things kind of go bad if they take too long as well. Like, my big example was always, Saturday morning cartoons, right? There was this cartoon that was good for a while, Pirates of the Dark Water. It was pretty well animated, I think. And but I just their quest was to get 10 magical treasures. And, I was a kid, so I was pretty easily invested in that.
Yeah.
But I forget how many episodes I watched or anything. It's all a bit hazy, but I just remember the disappointment when I think they lost a magic treasure. And I realized, wait a minute. Wait a doggone minute. This isn't just going to be 10 episodes of each episode they get a treasure, is it? They're just going to stretch that. Like, as soon as I realized they could make negative progress, I realized they could kind of write in. I think I lost a lot of innocence that day. Where I realized they could stretch those 10 treasures out for however long they wanted.
That's right.
They could find 5 in the first episode. They could approach infinity if they want. And of course, the bad news is Pirates of the Dark Water, I think, was too expensive to make. So it never got finished. They never found those 10 damn magic treasures.
Oh my gosh.
The whole thing was a bit of a farce. So that is feature creep in a nutshell, I think.
Yes,
and the good example here, the good guy, is Conan the Adventurer, which had a very satisfying ending. It was a good cartoon. And it actually ended, because the intro tells you that Conan wants to, defeat the wizard Rathamon and turn his family back. They've been turned into stone by Rathamon. And he actually succeeds. I think Rathamon gets away or something. Like, okay, fine. Rathamon gets away just in case they were going to make more. But he actually succeeds in the damn quest, and they have like a big boss battle at the end against the serpent god Set and everything. And so it ended, and that was a rare and valuable thing, I think, in Saturday morning cartoons. So that is my big example of, like, it's okay to end. Like, sometimes the end is the best bit. You've got to make sure things end.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've got a musician friend of mine who he never officially joined our band, but he played live with us a few times, and we would partner up, some guys out of my band, and him and some other guys, and we would do like little offshoots, little night. Matter of fact, almost I guess a year and a half ago, we got together and we did we put a amalgamation of all these different artists together, and we did a one night little musical thing or whatever, played some covers. And this guy is such a phenomenal musician. There's nothing he can't play. And he is one of the most, if not the most talented guitar player I've ever had the opportunity to sit down and jam with. Like, the guy is incredible. And he mixes and he masters and he records and produces music as well, but he never puts anything out because he likes to add layers. And he's like, oh wait, that'd be really cool if I did this. And then it's like 20 layers deep, and it's like, oh, you know what? I'm going to go back. I'm going to re-record this piece. And he gets stuck in this loop of like, I can make it better. I can make it different. I can make it better. I can make it different. And he never puts anything out. Never. It's just like, he's got hard drives filled with music that is all incomplete. And I'm like, dude, at some point in time, you just got to say, okay, it's done. You got to move forward. You could put out 1,000 songs, or you can release none. But like, that's just, he gets stuck in that loop of, I can do it again. I can do something else. I can do something else.
Oh, boy, yeah, the cycle is something that I guess I'm still kind of obsessed with the cycle. I first heard about it in philosophy class back when I was at university, but there are many cycles, and some of the time you're in cycles you like, but sometimes you've got to make sure you break the cycle and at least get to a new cycle.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. So you do have an ending date in mind, or still not announced anything like that?
Release date, that's right. So we're talking about. So I put a provisional release date a year from now because I think Steam asked, and I'm getting an icon made for the game now. I realize it doesn't actually have an icon yet. I kind of forgot about that, honestly, for the demo, but somebody from Indonesia is hopefully working on 3 prototype icons for me as we speak.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I think maybe next year we could have some kind of, at least a sort of 1.0, it's the kind of game where you could easily add more. In fact, actually, I might reveal something pretty secret to the game as well. That what I found out was I'm using ClickTeam Fusion to make this thing, and ClickTeam Fusion has an actual limit on the number of lines of programming you're allowed to have. And when I read that, I had this sinking feeling of like, oh shit, is it like pretty? Because I've got, I think, 10,000 lines already in there, except not quite, maybe because it's complicated. Some of those lines are comments. Some of those lines have been kind of disabled because they're little debug things that are just there for me that I'm not using now. So unfortunately, it's kind of complicated as well. But the limit is 20,000 lines.
Oh,
And so
wow.
this thing has already been made for quite a few years. There's things I can delete out of there. But basically, I do not want to get in a situation where I've got, this interesting thing where random parts of the game are shutting down because there's too many lines. And so that's given me a bit of fire under me to make sure this thing is definitely on a collision course of ending as well.
Okay.
I mean, there is stuff like Dwarf Fortress, where apparently that guy has 750,000 lines of code in his thing, so I'm kind of jealous. But by and large, yeah, it sounds like this has to end, and this stuff in this has to be kind of definitive. So I don't think I'm really going to get too close to that limit, actually. Like, stuff like the planet generating has taken up a lot of lines. I think from now on, what I'm doing is going to be quite line efficient. Like, some of this stuff is setting up the infrastructure, like the stuff that makes the text and things. But anyway, yeah, so I do have this kind of, this deadline at the end where if I it's gonna be worse than an execution, really. It's gonna be like slow corruption where bits of my game drop off. It'll be friggin' leprosy for me, basically, if I don't finish this thing before we've got the if I've used too many lines of code. So
gotcha.
That helps you finish.
Hey, well, you know what? It sometimes a little bit of parameters helps us creatives stay inside and move forward. So that's exciting. Okay. Is there anything else? I mean, I know you're, demo number 2 is out. So there's only so much that you can actually pimp. We'll take the links to your demo and all that stuff. We'll put it in the show notes. I'll blast it in the Facebook group. We want to get some exposure on there. I definitely would welcome anyone listening to the show to please check out Kenneth's game. Throw some feedback out there. Let's take the Loot Bros community and rally around this, the world's mightiest independent developer. And, and get on board and cause I'm excited. Dude. Like I said, I played your last game. I think it's dope. We just recently had, one of the developers for the, White Boys with Attitude on the show, like 2 weeks ago. Yeah. And, talking with him was great, man. I've played some of his games. I actually own more of his games than I've played, which was really funny to just start clicking through. I was like, oh, you made that? I bought that. Oh, you made that? I bought that. That's awesome. And I've been trying to have more devs on the show, and we'll have more coming up in the next few weeks. And I really want to create a space to where we may not be the biggest audience, but when you come to the Loot Bros, you have a supportive audience, and people all want to be a part of what you're doing. So I highly encourage everyone to click the links, check out Kenneth's demo, and if there's anything else you want to pimp or add about it right now, Kenneth, go right ahead.
Boy, I mean, I can say what I've put into it since last time as well, because some people might have played the previous ones. We've got a moving camera system now. That was anything to do with moving and positioning has been pretty tough, honestly. Just things like the shadows under things. Pretty much any time I try to improve that, it knocks something else out of place. So I quite often end up chasing a cycle of now the shadows are wiggling. If you stop the shadows are wiggling, now the bullets come out the wrong place on the guns or something.
Oh, wow.
So it can be tough. It is there now though. So the camera system moves. We got resources on the planets together. I made them a bit like Minecraft, where you go over the spot and then there's a second of gathering, then it pops out. And I could easily have made that more efficient, but I kind of made it fun instead. There's going to have a bit of ceremony to the whole thing. So, the ship can die. That's kind of a big one, actually. Having your ship die affects everything. You can get money from space taxi. That's another nice thing that got fulfilled over years. I think it was more than a year ago, I wrote space taxi on a piece of paper, just thinking, space taxi would make some sense. And finally, being a space taxi is in there. And it's kind of a silly little game. You just pick people up and take them to the destination, and they have little faces and they talk to you.
That's awesome.
I'm almost wondering if you could have some kind of system to marry NPCs or something, just something really shallow.
So it's going to be a dating sim as well as a space shooter?
Yeah, I don't know quite how that would work. Because normally that's weird. As soon as you get married in a video game, it's all kind of over. Like I had a Skyrim husband for a while. I was playing a female elf, and I had a husband in Markarth, I think. And yeah, you just go home, and he's kind of weird. Even he's like, "Hello, honey, I baked you some food." And then you just go to bed, and it just sort of blacks out, and you wake up feeling, good because you slept with your husband.
Well, so that's not real life. I mean, that's
yeah, but it's all a bit sort of shallow, and you don't. It's not like he actually goes adventuring with you or anything.
Yeah, could be your co-pilot. Get on your turret for your gun.
Yeah, actually, that's not impossible. Actually, because I have they're not in the demo at the moment, but I have implemented little buddy ships that can join you, and I thought maybe they could have little faces or something. Just put little faces and everything. That's always useful. Oh, and of course, there's new guns that were not available on the last game. I think the mega guns and the multi guns had bugs before, but those bugs are now fixed. And so there's a few that the weirdest guns are now available. And like I say, I've had some music made for the game now as well. And that's kind of a lot of why I'm doing this as well. I always wanted to be sort of a game director, directing people to make stuff and bringing all these things together. That was a lot of the idea. I used to see videos of gaming studios and stuff where they had concept art on the walls and things. And somehow I didn't imagine myself drawing the concept art. It was more about going around kind of rallying the artists and figuring out what they ought to be making and making sure it all made sense in the big picture.
That's awesome. So you said something earlier about weird guns. What is the weirdest gun you've put in the game?
Okay, boy, there's probably some good ones. I mean, there is the Banana Blaster, which I think is named after a smoothie I used to have back in Oxford. I think, there's the Banana Blast smoothie, so it's slightly that. But the Banana Blaster fulfills an obsession I've had for a long time with projectiles taking a curved path, which I think started. It's a bit weird because the original Tyrion, where the graphics are from, had a banana gun, but those bananas all just went in a straight line, and maybe that bothered me. So I actually I think this has been lost actually, but for a while there, I think late teenage years, I made this game that didn't get finished called Randy the Rabbit. It was probably inspired a lot. It was kind of going to be a sort of irreverent Lord of the Rings ripoff or something. It was kind of going to be that. Kind of Zelda Lord of the Rings was in my head. And he was a blue rabbit who shot carrot missiles. And and then one of the weapons you could unlock was a banana thing that took a curved path. I thought that would be kind of interesting. And all of this is gone. I have no proof of any of this. This could have been a fever dream for all I know.
No fact checking available.
Yeah, so the Banana Blaster is definitely in there. We've got a gun. Can you actually get it there? I'm not sure you can in this one yet, but I did make a gun that shoots swords, and it's called the Number 8 after the name of. I haven't played much Dungeons and Dragons, but the one time we did play with my cousin, his brother, well, also my cousin, joined as a Hobbit barbarian. We have this story on the blog as well. He joined as a Hobbit barbarian, and I think he kind of he wasn't really that involved. He just kind of made up his character sheet quite quickly. They decided he was a Hobbit barbarian, and he had some kind of broadsword, and its name was Number 8.
There you go.
So there is a whole story about Number 8 and the Collar of Sin, and many adventures you'll have to read my blog for. But,
awesome.
So we have a gun that shoots swords, and it's called Number 8 for that reason.
That's really cool. Any other cool Easter eggs that you're hiding in there so far, or anything you might want to share?
I've revealed most of them. I think I've actually you can't go to the Nether anymore because one Easter egg I can definitely reveal is when you are able to go to the Nether. I forget if this is in the previous version, but definitely when you get to the Nether in whatever demo I release next, you'll be able to pause over the darkness and the void, and if you wait for I think about a minute, it's random, then my face will just flash in the void for a second.
There you go.
And what I'm hoping is that people will question their sanity, but
that should be
generous, and they won't.
Well, you should have it set up to where that's a trophy or a Steam achievement or something, and
Exactly. I think
And
that's
then-
definitely going to be a trophy of some kind.
That's awesome. So that's exciting, dude. That's really cool stuff. So anything else, any other update you want to share before we get into some Daredevil and Punisher?
Yeah, I don't think so. I'll probably bring it back. I mean, I've gotten pretty good at bringing things back to Super Space Galaxy, because that's a lot of the point of my blog as well. Like I've written something about Elden Ring because I've been playing that.
Oh yeah,
But,
I saw that pop up.
Yeah. So it's not exactly a review because I haven't won the game yet or anything. But what I have done is I've managed to relate it to Super Space Galaxy anyway, because they've got an open world game as well. And I was kind of curious about the structure of their open world, basically. So I think structure is something that's easy to overlook in these things. Like most people, when they're playing the game, you only experience the kind of moment-to-moment gameplay. But long-term, what's going to matter as well is the structure, like what actually causes the upgrades. You know, where do you go, where can you go, all that stuff. So I was wondering how their world was structured and whether you could, because some people were complaining about Ubisoft games where you can just kind of point yourself at the next watchtower or whatever, run forward, and there you go, and that's it. It's just kind of A to B every time. So I thought, well, what have they done? And what they've done is they've got cliffs, basically. They've got quite a lot of weird cliffs. And that's, I think, navigating those weird cliffs is one of the most important things you can do in the game, actually, I think. But I just found that rather comforting, because it's an open galaxy in principle, but at the same time you have a certain amount of fuel, and you've got cities and fuel sources that are intelligently positioned by the galaxy system I made. So that kind of gives it this, not exactly cliffs or anything, but it does actually give it this structure where there's certain routes you can take, certain routes you can't. And so I was just kind of comforted to see that these guys had put cliffs into the game, and I sort of had galactic cliffs. Very implicit galactic cliffs made out of fuel.
That's pretty cool. So that does actually kind of stir up a question in general with, I know as a game dev, you spend a lot of your time playing game or building games, not playing games.
Yeah.
And you said you've been playing Elden Ring. Is there anything else that may have inspired you during this process for this particular game?
For this game, because what was I actually? Why am I thinking of, like, I forget what I've seen recently that was kind of 90s games again, but I mean, definitely for the music, definitely the music of Mass Effect, particularly I think Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 2 is somehow my favorite one. I spent my whole second playthrough just sort of trying to figure out how I was supposed to nail Miranda, basically. Not the noblest of reasons for a second playthrough, perhaps, but whatever.
Hey, man, each man's motivations are his own.
So yeah, we had in fact, maybe I should go into that stuff as well. There is a bit of a thread about Mass Effect 2's music and music of the spheres and all sorts of things. This is kind of on the blog, but we looked at the music for the Elusive Man, who stands in front of a sun. So I was trying to find good music for a solar system. I think I found something from the movie Sunshine, which I did see, that's got a picture of a guy standing in front of a sun. And then I remember the Elusive Man in Mass Effect also stands in front of the sun, because I didn't give it much thought at the time, but yeah, he's in this room where I guess he's got a special window or something that can filter out a lot of the sunlight, and he just likes to stand in front of the sun to look important, I guess. And but anyway, the music he's got is full of arpeggios, for one thing. I'm guessing you know what arpeggios are, the kind of doodle-a-doodle-a-doo.
Oh, yeah.
That stuff. And I'm a bit of a sucker for arpeggios myself. Like they split up the chords or something. But also, I thought it was important to tell a musician about that there's something I remember from English class about the music of the spheres. And this is an old idea. It apparently goes all... I heard about this in the context of like 1600s poetry. But some of the ideas they had a few hundred years ago can be very fun, actually. Like, obviously, those guys were kind of wrong about 2/3 of the details. But I feel like when it comes to the big picture, some of these people a couple of 100 years ago might have actually had a better big picture than people do now, because there's kind of too much stuff to know, and you end up with scientists to a lot of butterfly specialists or something. You get a guy who knows all about butterflies, but maybe doesn't have much of a sense of what the big picture is. So so I traced this back a bit and did some research for my blog post, and it sounds like at least Pythagoras was talking about the planets orbiting the sun and stuff. Well, maybe not orbiting the sun, orbiting the Earth or whatever they thought back then. And there was this sense of order and harmony to what the planets were doing. And so, in one way or another, that idea of the music of the spheres has kind of knocked around for, I guess, thousands of years. It's still around, and if you think it's gone, just play Mario Galaxy and ask yourself what you're listening to,
Yeah.
So I definitely brought all that stuff up. So putting the education to good use.
There you go. That's awesome.
I just remembered a story. I thought you guys are kind of metalers, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I like metal.
That's actually how you and I got to talking in the first place. Because
we were talking about Devil May Cry 1 and things, weren't we?
Yep.
Griffin. That's a really good metal track. Yeah, because I was thinking about Tolkien and metal. There's some new TV show. Doesn't look very good, to be honest, but there's some new TV show coming up about Lord of the Rings, and there's a bit of a connection between Tolkien and heavy metal. I might dig out the quote actually, because it's almost a diss on metal what Tolkien writes. But at the same time, Tolkien ended up inspiring a bunch of heavy metal musicians and things anyway. I think, like when they do metal songs about battles with orcs or whatever.
That's Viking metal.
I'm going to just search it up. I think this is in the Silmarillion. Just searching this live.
No, you're good.
Okay, here we go. I think I found the right stuff, and this does seem to be in the Silmarillion. Right, so there's stuff in the Silmarillion where it's just the world hasn't even been created yet. It's just God and the lesser angels creating a cosmic music together, which I think is something rather like the music of the spheres. That's why I was thinking of this. But it's this thing they say where Melkor is kind of Satan, and of course rock and roll's associated with Satan, right?
Right.
There's that, and so here we go. So he describes the music as loud and vain and endlessly repeated, and it had little harmony, but rather a clamorous unison as many trumpets braying upon a few notes. And it's all very abstract stuff. But I was just thinking, does that not sound like heavy? That sounds like a guitar riff.
Absolutely.
But I'm not sure. He wrote this in the 40s or the 50s or something of the latest, I think. So I don't think they had heavy metal in those days.
No, but it reminds me of this. We went the first time we ever went to a recording studio. We were playing this, this song or whatever, and we recorded everything. We sat down with the producer, the guy mixing everything. He goes, and it sounded good. I was like, but it sounds very paper thin. I was like, can you make it sound more full? I was like, what if we just added layers? Like, what if I go and play my guitar parts again? So then you'd have a proper left track, proper right track, which is, from what I understand about music productions, the way you're supposed to do it in the first place. But he was just completely against the idea. And he said, look, son, when he said this to me in front of our entire band and inspired an actual song, we wrote a song with this phrase in it. But he says, you know how when you got a racetrack and there's one car going around the track and you can hear it, you can hear everything about it, you hear the engine roar and everything? I was like, yeah. He goes, yeah. Well, 50 cars going around the track is just noise. I was like, so you're not going to layer the music I'm paying you to record, is what you're telling me. And it was so funny. So we went back and I wrote a song with a pretty gnarly guitar lick, just like a nice run from the top of the neck down, and with a nice pinch harmonic at the end. It's like, and then I wrote the lick and I wrote the song. We were sitting around like, what are we going to call it? I was like, 50 cars around the track is just noise. And we named the song after what that guy said, because I was appalled by the idea. And it's so funny as you're reading that quote out, it's like many trumpets, making few, was it many trumpets making a lot of noise, making a few notes or whatever? That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, I'm thinking surely there was it like 70s they invented electric guitars or something, I think.
Yeah,
Maybe
something. Yeah, I think they were invented before that, but I think the 70s is when you really started getting like overdrive and dirty, tones to your guitars and things like that.
If you want to talk about braying upon a few notes, that is exactly what a guitar riff is.
Yes.
And so I think in some sense, Tolkien really kind of understood something about music, and this is kind of about evil as well, I think. This isn't a diss on heavy metal by any means, but there's something about evil in this as well. Evil is another thing that interests me, but let's not get into that just yet. I think that's been enough glimpses for now.
I dig it. So, okay. Punisher, Daredevil. Are you ready?
Right, yeah. So, where were we? I did. I'm not going to recap the big Punisher theory from the last one. I think we talked about the merry-go-round and Dark Heather and everything. If you want to know what I'm talking about, you're going to force you to listen to my previous podcast, I guess.
I'll put the link to that show in the notes for this one as well.
Yeah. So, what I was thinking of now was Daredevil, when Daredevil's kind of based on Batman, I think, because Batman manages to look kind of demonic as well. They probably saw Batman's pointy ears, and for all we know, they took some people and said, make something like Batman.
Yep.
That might have been what happened. So he's got the kind of pointy ears and everything. He's got the kind of little demon horns. That's mostly all he has to his costume, I think.
Yep.
And he's got the sticks. I never really liked the sticks. I always thought they were a bit kind of dorky.
Up until this modern run of Daredevil, and I'm saying Netflix series specifically, which is now on Disney Plus, I was not a huge Daredevil fan either. And I went to the theaters and saw Ben Affleck play Daredevil, and I was like, I never really got into the character in the comics. Okay.
Yeah.
I was a Punisher comic reader. I was a Batman comic reader. I was a Wolverine comic reader. And then X-Men, that was kind of my jam. Daredevil, I never really got into. And then watching the Ben Affleck, Daredevil, I was like, oh man, that's a cool idea. That movie was extremely cheesy and not very good.
Yeah.
But it was a cool idea that this kid gets, his vision taken from him. He's blinded. He gets his chemicals on him, and then it enhances everything else. That's a cool concept. And I always thought that was Marvel's attempt at Batman. It's a very detective oriented, not to the extreme, but he's beating up bad guys and he's getting information and it's a very grounded story. Daredevil doesn't ever go out of space, or Daredevil doesn't. He's not a mutant. He's not. It's very much punching, kicking. And and the sticks were whatever.
Whammy of investigating things during the day and punching things at night, I think, is yes, the Batman.
Absolutely. And then the fact he's a lawyer, it was like, okay, Batman's a billionaire, he's a lawyer. I saw the through lines, but I gotta say,
so I think the thing with Batman is it's very explicitly about kind of politics and justice and how to deal with society and stuff. So I think Daredevil's just got a more convenient job doing that. Just more of an excuse to be talking about the legal system than maybe Batman does. Right.
And again, like you said, it's very convenient. It's very good. But as a fan, I never really got into him until this Netflix run, because it's so dark, it's so gritty, it's so grounded. And the fight scenes were so fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
And it inspired me to go start reading some of the comics and find some of these runs that are really, really good, that are very dark and gritty and things like that.
I'm interested to see what happened in the because I know that there's one of my favorite scenes is when it's Punisher and Daredevil up on the rooftop.
Yes,
and they have a fight as well, which is fun. Honestly, their conversation is kind of more interesting than the fight.
Yes, it really is.
Yeah, the conversation is the most vicious battle in the whole thing, really. So it's kind of a strange scene because you've got this guy who's almost dressed up as the Grim Reaper, pretty much. He's Well, he's not wearing a robe or anything, but he's got the black outfit, and actually, I'm not sure he is actually wearing the skull. But you've got this guy who's kind of the Grim Reaper, and you've got this guy who's kind of the devil, and they're having a conversation on a rooftop, and you have to start wondering what you're even watching, really.
What's funny is they're having this conversation, and their images would suggest they're both the bad guy.
Yeah,
but they're having a conversation over the proper way to be the good guy.
Yeah, well, that's something I wanted to bring up as well. Yeah, I think one of the things they got from Batman maybe is that a lot of the symbols are kind of upside down, because Batman looks like the bad guy. I've listened to a lot of Jordan Peterson videos and stuff for a while, so I've kind of picked up a bit of symbolic vocabulary from this. I kind of know, once you know about stuff like snakes and birds and the sun, and those are some of the biggest ones. Like, there's only so many symbols you actually need to know about. There's actually not very many words in the symbolic vocabulary, I think. So yeah, I was thinking, Batman's kind of like an evil bird or something. I know he doesn't actually fly.
Right.
But symbolically, he kind of flies. And so but instead of being like a bird who goes to the sun, he's a bird who goes to the moon or something. I think in a kind of weird sort of ancient symbolism level, that's what Batman represents. So he's sort of an evil bird. I mean, heck, when Robin goes rogue, he becomes Nightwing, right? And Nightwing is almost a synonym for Batman, I realize. Like, you could restart Batman's entire history and call it Nightwing, and I don't think people would really know the difference. Maybe it'd just be a bit less on the nose. But yes, I mean, what I wanted to bring up was just that, the symbols are kind of upside down, because you've got Daredevil, who's this forgiving devil who insists on seeing the good in people.
Yep.
And of course, everyone knows the devil is the one who wants to use the case for the prosecution, right? Basically, the devil. But Daredevil is a defender of the innocent. So it's all kind of weird and upside down in a way, and I think that applies to Kingpin as well. So because what was I thinking with this? Yeah, because you've got Kingpin tends to be kind of up in penthouses and things. I think is part of what's happening. But he likes to be up in kind of high places, looking down on everybody.
Yep.
Whereas Daredevil tends to be kind of down in like little building. He goes on rooftops and things. But it always feels like Kingpin is just sort of vertically up a lot higher than Daredevil is. So you've got so what you've got is kind of this image of the devil rising up against God almost. Except it's kind of a fake God and a fake devil, and there's something kind of upside down about the symbols.
Yes. So, that, and then you throw in the mix with the Punisher, like you said, likening him to the Grim Reaper, but like with both of them trying to do in their eyes what is good, but having like both of them are doing the good thing in the wrong way. Like the Punisher's like, we're going to eliminate evil by dispatching it completely. And then you got the Daredevil's like, no, we're going to eliminate evil by like sneaking around in the night and beating it into oblivion. And but that like you said, that conversation between the two of them, because they have that guy who the Punisher has tied up and chained up or whatever, and he's like, they're pseudo fighting each other while he's trying to kill this guy, while then the Daredevil's trying to save the guy. And it's like, imagine being that guy in between that in that tussle and that fight. It's like
just praying like, neither of these maniacs kill him.
Like the devil is trying to save me here from this other guy who's trying to kill me while they're punching each other. And it was so well done. And I tell everybody, anyone who listens, like, before you watch The Punisher season 1, you gotta watch Daredevil season 2, because the interactions, and there's one line, I shared this with my wife, and it just like, it was so good. Where the Punisher's been shot, him and Daredevil are in that cemetery, and he's leaning up against like a tree trunk or a tombstone. I can't remember off the top of my head.
He's up against a tombstone. Like, that's something they like to do. Like, he holds onto a coffin lid, I think, at one point. So he just sort of gravitates towards these things. Yeah.
And he's just talking about how in love he was with his wife, and it's like he has this moment where he just shares with Red. That's what he always calls Daredevil, where he shares with Red like just how much he loved his wife and how much his wife and his kids meant to him. And it is one of the most emotional scenes in TV. And I was like, oh my gosh, you guys you've killed a ton of people. You guys just beat the crap out of each other. And so like my emotional like roller coaster we've been ripping and roaring. And then all of a sudden you just broke me down with this heartfelt spiel about your wife and how you loved her and your kids and stuff. I'm just like, I don't know how, like, emotionally, you just killed me. You just ripped my heart out as it was racing 90 miles an hour.
A similar scene actually is I really liked when they brought Karen into the Punisher.
Yes.
There isn't much of a principled reason why Karen is there. It's just like Daredevil's girlfriend is showing up in Punisher's show for no reason.
Yeah,
I have no complaints because the chemistry of Punisher is amazing.
Yes, it was.
And a scene a bit like that is I forget what's even going on. Like people are shooting each other in some building because something important is happening. But the point is, Punisher like captures Karen and drags her back into an elevator so they can both escape. And then they have this marvelous moment where they don't even say anything, but it's just Punisher and Karen looking longingly at each other.
Yep.
And I think in one version of the script they kiss, but screw that. It's just they kind of stare at each other, and so much gets said wordlessly. And they look so different as well, because you've got Punisher with kind of blood in his face. I think a bullet has grazed his cheek or something. He's in a bit of a mess, and he's got some glass shards in his arm or something.
Yeah.
He's just sort of visibly taken this path off into violence, basically. And somehow next to him, Karen looks sort of whiter. You know, that can happen. It helps that they're blonde as well, but she sort of looks so sort of untainted on the other side here of this elevator. They just stare at each other, and then Punisher just kind of has to climb away to take his separate path. But yeah, they have this amazing chemistry together where, because Karen has actually shot people before anyway. She's a weird sort of Punisher fangirl in a way.
What's funny is throughout the different seasons and the way that she's used, she like, it's almost like she's like, hey, let's not be violent. And then, oh no, I found myself with a gun shooting someone, saving a friend that I just told not to go kill people. And I just told not to, like, you're not supposed to do this bad thing, but then I'm going to find myself in this situation. And she's definitely a catalyst for several different emotional story arcs, but she does a great job. I mean, all of the actors and actresses, even Rosario Dawson.
Yeah, she's in some of it. She sort of pops up here and there. Yeah,
and then she's a through line between Luke Cage, Daredevil, and I believe she's in Defenders, maybe?
She showed up in Jessica Jones, I saw.
Yes.
It seemed a little bit artificial to me, to be honest. She just sort of volunteers.
Yeah.
She just sort of, I think, Jessica Jones has been injured or something, and then she's like, oh, I've seen this kind of shit before, I'll deal with it. Just going to sneak away from the hospital, and it's her again.
I'm the superhero nurse. Let me just go do my thing. So
I've done this kind of thing.
Yeah,
she's sort of heroic looking, Rosario Dawson. I think there's something about she's sort of got big eyes and I don't know, big bones, or there's something about her that's sort of strong.
She's got some very defined features in her face.
Yeah.
She's got that, which is cool because she's really gotten some limelight lately. She's always been a very popular actress, and she's in a lot of stuff. But like, she's in the new Dying Light 2. She's one of the characters in that. And then on HBO Max, there is a DC property that I'm not familiar with called DMZ. But there's like a 4-episode short series that just dropped on HBO Max last week with her on the front. And you see her everywhere. She's a very tough character. And I like her in almost everything I've seen her in.
Oh, hang on. Oh, it's nice. Somebody is looking at my demo, I think.
Awesome.
Somebody I'm doing some things on Reddit. I try to use Reddit, and someone is, as we speak, hopefully looking at the demo. It's just another dev, though. That happens a lot. Like, indie devs quite often just make marketing that other devs look at, and there you go.
Hey man, that's good though. You got a little community out there of people jumping on and supporting each other, because I would imagine, putting a demo out or a game out is no more difficult than putting a song out and just hoping someone will listen to it.
You can't do that. I mean, people are kind of, that'd be a whole other topic, but people are kind of don't know that marketing exists a lot of the time, I think. I've seen this with people's attitude to self-promotion. Like, you can't do self-promotion, and I think, like, someone's got to promote me.
Yeah. If you don't, who will? So.
Yeah, someone else got to do it. I mean, I looked at some Grant. Maybe not everyone's even going to like this, but I've read 2 Grant Cardone books. Like, Grant Cardone is loud and relentless, and you may think that's all he really has to offer or something. He does sort of real estate things, but he is at least loud and relentless, and he makes sure people know about him. And so I picked up a little bit of that vibe with just the fact that marketing is needed, and if you don't tell anybody about it, nothing happens. And so I think people don't know about this. Like, I remember seeing some comments under, I think it was the music from Black Mirror that was done by Miley Cyrus or something, and somebody was saying, "Oh wow, Miley Cyrus sure is talented. She's made really popular songs based under like 3 different personas or something."
Mm-hmm.
And they're talking about this as though Miley Cyrus is just kind of, humbly working away in some basement somewhere, and like she releases a song with like no marketing. Her dad is not an established country music singer,
right.
Just no marketing, no budget, no record producing companies, no nothing. And she just humbly puts this song onto the internet, and suddenly the world seizes on it. And like, because that seems to be what they believe is happening. Like, it's this rags to riches story every time. Whereas, I mean, I'm not somebody who likes to grumble about, rich parents or unfair advantages or anything. That is not my bag at all. But my point is more just that, it's not zero to hero every time. Like, someone like Miley Cyrus or Beyonce as well, I think, was like trained from a young age to be a pop star or something.
Absolutely.
But when you look at that stuff, it's not this sort of random rags to riches story at all. There's structure behind it. I guess maybe people don't like the idea that stuff they like because they've been told to like it or something. It's just been sort of put in front of them artificially.
Well, it's funny because there have been examples of artists who have tried to do the just humbly drop something out there and my name will carry it to success, and it has blown up in their face. I'm a huge rap rock fan. Our listeners know I love mixing hip hop and rock music. That's my favorite thing in the world. And the band Limp Bizkit, multi-million, selling platinum artist. I mean, these guys were at the top of the world in the late 90s in all music. And those jokers dropped an EP called The Unquestionable Truth in the early 2000s with no marketing campaign. And it bombed. And it was a story after the fact that it's like, wait a second, the original guitar player who had left the band, they put a 3rd album out without him. He comes back. They drop this EP with like a video and a single, but with no buildup, no marketing campaign. There was no label putting end caps in the Best Buys and the stores at the time. There weren't billboards. There weren't commercials. It was just like, here it is. It's out there. We're Limp Bizkit. You'll find it. And it flopped.
It's just, we're Limp Bizkit, enough said. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about communicating it to people as well. Like, I guess I learned this lesson pretty hard from Super Space Slayer 2, because I made that having some sense that you needed marketing, but not really knowing anything about it. And I released that onto Google Play, and to this day, I think it has 100 downloads maybe, but it doesn't have much really. Nothing really happened because of that. It just showed me how to make a game and finish it, and also taught me that, there's more to it than that, which is why my blog exists now.
Well, that's good. That's good. And, coming on shows and talking, we've had several people in the past few weeks and months come through on, quote, press tours. Back in December, we had a voice actor and an author come on, and he is launching a comic book company. So like here on the Loot Bros, I love to talk about games. That's the number one thing we talk about is games, but I've got like little spinoff shows for like comic books and things like that. And any chance I get to talk about any of the above, I'm going to put it on there. So I was like, hey, he was out 20 plus shows lined up on his little press tour in quotes. And he was like, hey, I'll come on there and talk about comics, and like, we've had game developers come on here. We've got we've had other guys launching comics in the comic industry come on. We've had just some some guys just promoting their YouTube stuff. And it's like, you got to be out there. And this isn't directed towards you. This is directed towards the listeners. Anyone out there, any creative out there, you have to be out there and using every opportunity at your disposal to put your information out there. Because like Kenneth said earlier, if you don't promote you, I mean, who's going to do it, you know?
Yeah.
So.
And actually, that's not bad. I'm just to blow my own trumpet. It's not a bad. Maybe I should put that in my eventual book or something.
There you go. So, well, Kenneth, man, it's been really awesome having you on. We're getting close to the hour and a half mark total. I don't want to keep you too much longer. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about or put out there for the audience?
What else have we got? Man, yeah, time's really flowing.
It's crazy how fast it flies by when you're having fun.
I had, I guess, just going randomly through the list, I have an actual paper list, and I also have a little notepad file. You know, let's see. I guess I'll leave us maybe with one more little comic booky theory about some of these things.
Absolutely.
So something I've noticed with I first noticed this playing Freedom Force back in the day. That was what, 2002 or something, maybe.
That's an old one.
Yeah. Freedom Force was this game that was sort of based on Marvel Comics. I think it gave me an interest in like 60s comics, and it's kind of Marvel because they've got Minuteman, who's kind of not Captain America, and it's not exactly a direct rip-off of anything. When they've got El Diablo or something who flies around like the Human Torch, who's this sort of Hispanic guy, but it felt more Marvel than most things. I think some of the background in space had the kind of Marvel Kirby dots style and things going on. Anyway, so and what you get in that game is a whole bunch of superheroes join your team, and you get to see a whole bunch of different superhero origins back to back. The loading screens were all sort of comic book covers and stuff. It was mostly the presentation that was fun, really. I think actually the gameplay may have been somewhat shallow looking back, but the presentation was so fun you kind of didn't mind. But yeah, the thing I noticed about a lot of these superhero origins is that when they're all conveniently doused with Energy X as the convenient premise to the whole. The aliens are just throwing Energy X at Earth randomly because they're hoping the humans will destroy each other if they have access to superpowers, basically. That's their plan. But yeah, a lot of the superheroes, on the way to getting their powers, kind of they pass out or they die or something and they get reborn. Because, Minuteman, I did look up again. I mean, his origin story is he's this old man who's an ex-spy or something, and he gets shot in some spy fight he wasn't really even involved in. And as he's dying, he gropes to a statue that's hit by Energy X, and he gets reborn as Minuteman. But that's a pretty straightforward kind of death and rebirth thing, where he was already dying, like he was old even. And he gets kind of reborn as this patriotic Captain America character.
Yeah.
And I guess, and that's. I'm trying to think of more examples from Freedom Force. I mean, one of them in the sequel is dies in the electric chair or something, and that's kind of his origin story. And he comes out shooting guns that shoot electricity and stuff. So that's an easy one. You at least have to pass out. I think I remember seeing Spider-Man pass out.
Yeah, you have to. It's actually
the old movies.
It's in the superhero Bible. You have to like have some sort of pass out, near-death experience, a blackout moment. You know, the Call of Duty series has borrowed from that because every Call of Duty game, every single campaign, there is some point in time where your character is going to have an explosion go off and you're going to have lights out from it. Like every single one. So.
Yeah, well, quite often it begins with that. I mean, Fallout New Vegas, the first thing that happens is you get shot in the head, and then but that's when life really begins. Just that whole thing. Yeah, and that seems to be what's happened to the Punisher particularly. Like, that's where I was really trying to bring this in. I think Daredevil loses his sight, which is almost feels more like Odin or something. I think Odin sacrifices an eye into the well of seeing to really see.
Yeah.
But the Punisher particularly, like when he was shot in the head, everybody was shot. He was shot in the head.
Yep.
And that there's some arguments his brain might be kind of funny. And I just remember this moment where it's him and Karen again. God bless them. So I think Punisher was dragging off what's he called, Clancy Brown, I think his character. that guy. He has an amazing voice. He's kind of weird looking, but he has an amazing, by Hollywood standards, I mean, he's kind of weird looking. But he has an amazing voice, and I think he's done Lex Luthor's voice and stuff before. Anyway, he's dragging Clancy Brown's character off to some shed so that he can buzzsaw him in half or something.
Yes.
And I think Karen says, sort of like, if you go and do this, you're dead to me. And Punisher just looks at him and says, I'm already dead. So I think that is it, really. Just heroes have to die.
Yes, they have to. Every good hero origin story, they have to at least at the blackout at the least. I would actually dare to say we are all one blackout away from superpowers.
Yeah,
like,
that's kind of interesting. The rule seems to be like you come back powered up by what killed you, and that's kind of RoboCop or something as well. I think.
Yes.
In the wholesome stuff, they just pass out comfortably in a bed somewhere. And the less wholesome stuff, they get shot to pieces.
Yes, absolutely. So, well, awesome, Kenneth, man. I really enjoyed this. This was a blast. We're definitely going to have you back on, probably sooner rather than later next time. So, I mean,
yeah, definitely. I've still got some things I haven't covered. I probably want to talk about Arnold Schwarzenegger or something at some point.
Yes, yes. I read a funny Arnold joke earlier today, as a matter of fact. So we'll have to do that. We'll definitely try to get together, maybe in 6 months, opposed to, because you said you'll be looking to release in a year. So we'll at least have you on 2 more times. So
that's going to be holding me accountable there.
There you go.
Are you now 75% done?
That's right. So we'll definitely have you back, man. It was really good to, in my case, see you and have conversation with you. For the listeners to hear your voice, have you on. I'm going to put all of the links to your blog, to your demo, all that stuff into the show notes, so the listeners can click on that stuff. Again, Loot Bros, I would highly encourage you to click on it, check out the demo, and give some feedback. So like. We could be your testers. We could be your audience to kind of check it out. I know for a fact we got a ton of PC players and gamers listening to the show right now. I don't want to have to start naming names, but we could totally have you guys download this in a heartbeat and give it a shot. So, Kenneth, thanks for coming on, talking about your game. Thanks for coming on, talking about Punisher, Daredevil, and all that good stuff. So that was very, very good.
One of my few places I think I can unload comic book theories anyway, so it's good to have an outlet.
Well, we don't have to wait 6 months. I mean, we can come together and have these conversations more frequently. So I try not to assume that the person I'm being interviewing wants to come back so quickly. I also try not to assume that you just have all the time in the world, because if you're on here with me, then you're not working on your game. So, but the door is open anytime you want to talk about something. We don't even have to do it on camera. We don't even have to do it on the podcast. We can just chat. So, but you're more than welcome to come back anytime. The next big thing you put in your game, you want to talk about it, or we can tentatively set the date for 6 months. And then obviously when the game comes out, we'll have you on. We will review it here on the Loot Bros podcast and give you that real feedback.
Well, I'm going to have to finish. Will it end like Ken and the Adventure, or will it perhaps not? Well, it's definitely getting complete. I trust myself enough. I'm not going to pull a Pirates Dark Water on this. This is finishing. The question is, will it end in a satisfying conclusion against the Serpent God set?
We'll find out. So once again, shout out to the Earth's mightiest independent developer, Kenneth Dunlop, founder, CEO, lead developer of Plasma Beam Games. Thank you for coming on. Thank you, Loot Bros listeners. We are out of here. All right, everybody, coming in at the end of the show once again, just to pimp another song. This one is going to be another RPD song. This one is another favorite of mine. This one, I'm sure I've put it on here many times before. This one is called Who We Are Now, and just a little backstory on how and why I wrote this song. This was taking place, the time frame that the song took place, writing-wise, was during the Ferguson riots. Years and years ago, people were tearing up a city. There was some racial injustice stuff going on. And I sat back and I'm watching everything, and I'm watching how the media was playing into things and kind of, I don't want to say so much gaslighting, but like we've definitely seen over the years where the media has really kind of leaned into stories and certain things and taken a side, and has kind of helped escalate the temperature across things here in the United States. Now, I'm sure this happens all over the world. But what we've definitely seen is like, people getting more and more, I want to say like I don't want to say they're getting wilder, but they're getting a little more unrest. People are taking to the streets, burning stuff, blowing things up. And a lot of times they're doing damage to their own communities. And it's like, hey, you're wanting to have an outcry over this thing that's happening, but what you're doing is you're hurting yourself essentially to try to get your point across. And I sat back and I was like, man, I really hate that these things are happening. I hate that as a believer in general, that like I just feel like that the times we're living in are just they're wild. They're wild as crap. And so I was sitting back and I was like, I want to write a song that is kind of against racism and violence, and just like like things that are common sense. It's like we shouldn't hate people because of the way they look. We shouldn't hate people because of their life choices. We shouldn't hate people because of their whatever, I'm saying, religious backgrounds, all these things, and also in response to things that are unjust, we shouldn't destroy ourselves and our own community. So I pitched this song to my good friend George Red. I was like, hey, this is kind of where my head's at. I really want to write something in response to all this stuff that's happening. And so I submitted the piece of music, kind of threw some ideas out there, and like a freaking chemist, man, he got in the lab and started whipping up some incredible lyrics to kind of, go with all that stuff. And so I don't know, guys. I don't know how you feel about a lot of things, but as for myself, and I can't tell you how to feel. I just can tell you where my head was at when we did this. But as an artist, there's not a lot I can do to change anything, right? And even as just a freaking podcaster, a content creator, random dude, I can't. There's not a lot I can change. The only thing I can do is take the good in me and try to put it out on display and say, hey, I'm saying, like, this is. We can be better. Let's just be better to each other in general. And, a lot of times you turn on the news or something, you're like, oh my gosh, everything is freaking falling apart. It seems like everybody hates each other. But then when you actually get into your communities of people and like your friends and family and all that stuff, people don't really treat each other as wild and crazy as, the super sampling of the media would have you believe. Now, I'm not saying that injustices do not exist, because they do. What I am saying is things are definitely turned up for attention, whether that be clicks, whether that be views, all that stuff. And you always see the worst that's out there. So why am I ranting and giving you all this information about a 3-minute song that you might not even want to listen to? It's just to kind of give a little time and place as to where I was at when I wrote this song. Again, it's several years old. But yeah, so a lot of these songs have meaning, and they have a lot of commentary, I guess, that I could provide as to the where, the when, the why, and all that stuff. But here you go. This song's called Who We Are Now. It's a special to me because this is one of the first songs that I ever wrote or helped write that was directly inspired by current events at the time. And as we've seen, temperatures haven't exactly turned down. All over the globe, things have turned up, so like it is still relevant today, not just here in the States, but all over the world. So anyways, that rant, that a little bit was for you guys just to know kind of where my head was at when we wrote the song. I hope you dig it. Again, we want feedback. Check out the Patreon, check out the YouTube, check out all that stuff. And like I said, if you're a patron and you've listened to the deep dive, I am going to be putting all of these RPD songs on Spotify very soon. It will happen here in the next month or so. I'm in the process of compiling everything because we kept writing songs. We're like, we're going to write all these songs, then we're going to pick the 10 best or the 12 best. And then somewhere down the line, life happened. We all started having kids and stuff. So I'm just going to go and release the album. So a lot of people have reached out and said they dig the music and they dig what we were doing and, all this stuff. And I'm like, man, it's a shame you have to go to the podcast to listen to it, that if you wanted to, not saying it that everyone does, but if you wanted to, you couldn't go listen to it on YouTube or on Spotify, Apple Music. Well, that's going to change very, very soon. So thank you guys, RPD, who we are now.
When we say enough is enough, stand together, put the guns down, bodies buried in the ground. I don't care what the media says, in the end we all bleed red. This is who we are now, a nation divided. We break up cars and start riots, and build up our fellow man. It's time for a change, we will no longer remain quiet. White on black, black on white, God made us all, tell me why we fight. I can never hate a person based off their skin. Hate creates hate, it's like it's never an end. I'm sorry for the ones that have lost their lives. I'm sorry for the loss of buy into the lies. Everyone is equal, you're not better than me, I'm not better than you, I'm just speaking the truth. We weren't born to hate, we were made to love. One nation under God, when is it enough? How much blood have we shed in the land of the free, but so many dead? Stop the hate, we still have time to turn it all around, it is not too late. Search your heart, make things right, you could lose your life tonight. It's about to go down, when we say enough is enough, stand together, put the guns down, bodies buried in the ground. I don't care what the media says, in the end we all bleed red. This is who we are now, a nation divided. We break up cars and start riots, build up for our fellow man. It's time for a change, we will no longer remain quiet. How many people have to die at our own hands to make us realize we're committed genocide? I will not budge, God's on my side. Time for us to step up and do what's right. You can hate on me, you can put me down, but my message stands, I won't bow down. Take your hate, take your lies, take these scales off of your eyes. We see things so one-sided, it's no surprise we're so divided. I'm praying for you, I'm sending love to everyone under the sun. Let this hate go from your heart, run this race and finish hard. We can fight this fight together, squash the hatred, love forever. My heart it breaks every single day to see people who lost their way. It's about to go down, when we say enough is enough, stand together, put the guns down, bodies buried in the ground. I don't care what the media says, in the end we all bleed red. This is who we are now, a nation divided. We break up cars and start riots, and build up for our fellow man. It's time for a change, we will no longer remain quiet. About to go down, when we say enough is enough, stand together, put the guns down, bodies buried in the ground. I don't care what the media says, in the end we all bleed red. This is who we are now, a nation divided. We burn cop cars and start riots, no love for our fellow man. It's time for a change, we will no longer remain quiet.